Marvin Graves gone for the season. Kevin Glenn filled in. Then he was felled himself after only 4 games. Keith Smith became their third-string starter. Then injury raised its ugly head again. Can he shake off last week's concussion? Beleaguered coach Danny Barrett is running out of options. In Edmonton, quarterback Jason Moss is a rising star with a penchant for the spectacular, saving the best for last. Moss plays with his heart in his throat and puts fans on the edge of their seats, making last-minute comebacks his routine. Today in Regina, the quarterbacks hold the spotlight more than ever. CFL on CBC. Today, the Edmonton Eskimos meet the Saskatchewan Roughriders at Taylor Field in Regina. Good afternoon and welcome to the CFL on CBC. I'm Mark Lee. Well, there's no sugarcoating this. The football fans in this province are growing disenchanted. At the beginning of this year, the Riders made what they call the promise, a promise to make the playoffs for the first time in 4 seasons. And while that's not a tall order in the mediocre West this year, the Riders are in a desperate situation today. They need a victory. They're dead last with a 3-9 record. And to be fair to Coach Danny Barrett, the toll taken on his quarterbacks this year and his receivers has been terrible. But the math says it's still doable. The Riders are only 6 points out of first in the West. But they'll have to be awfully good today against Tom Higgins and the Edmonton Eskimos. They have weathered a rash of injuries through the first half of this season, and this team is playing with swagger behind young quarterback Jason Moss, averaging 300 passing yards a game. It should be a dandy here under beautiful conditions on the prairies as we go to the booth and welcome Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby.
Thanks, Mark, and good afternoon, everybody. No question, Chris, that opportunity knocks for both teams today. Edmonton with a chance to take over first in the West, and Saskatchewan to get right back in the playoff hunt after losses last night by both Calgary and BC. And the Eskimos have become the cardiac kids of this league, led by Jason Moss.
I love this kid. I tell you what, you watch him. We talked to him yesterday. The nice thing about this guy, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. You like a quarterback like that. He's got a bit of a swagger to him. After talking to this guy yesterday, Chris, I was walking up and down the streets of Regina looking to hit people.
That could be dangerous if he hit Quincy Jackson in the end zone late in the game last week against Toronto.
You lose McCorvey, you have to bring somebody in. Who do they bring in? Quincy Jackson responds, 110 yards, a touchdown last week. We know about Vaughn. They got another go-to guy in Quincy Jackson.
4 straight one-point games for the Edmonton Eskimos, and with Moss at the helm now, 5 of his last 6 starts, he's passed for over 300 yards. Oh, Saskatchewan would love to have those kind of offensive numbers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've gone through a revolving door with quarterbacks, and this is the hardest thing. Here's a new guy, Keith Smith. He played a little bit last week, left the game with concussion. I mean, he hasn't got great passing yardage, but they really like his poise on the football field. He's had a full week of practice. They're looking for big things from Keith Smith today.
They have had big things from their defense this year. Danny Barrett says they're 1 or 2 players away from dominating, and this guy might be one of those players.
You know they were happy to get this guy back. He is not only a leader on the football field, but it's what he does in the locker room that makes him even more important to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a real team leader.
All right, the second meeting of the year between these two teams. Back in July, it was Edmonton by 2. What about the Keys today?
Come on. I mean, I'm Edmonton. Last 4 games on offense. We wait till the end of the game. Don't wait till the 4th quarter. Let's get it done early. Let's put some points on the board and keep it. On defense, hey, rattle the rookie. You know he's going to have eyes big as satellite dishes back there. Get after him and knock him down. For Saskatchewan, come on. You got to get your offense clicking. Get out of the gate early. Put some points on the board. And on defense, force Moss to pass. Why do you say pass? Because Saskatchewan has the #1 pass defense.
Roughriders trying to end a 5-game home losing streak here this afternoon. Mark?
That's right, Chris. Home field has not been an advantage for the Riders this year, but the conditions here are ripe for a beautiful day for football. Look at that. 19 degrees, unseasonably warm here on the prairies. Just a light breeze out of the northwest, and it should be sunny most of the afternoon. Here's what's coming up at halftime. A candid Jason Moss talks about his world in the CFL and what makes this daring young man tick. Don Whitman's CFL scrapbook revisits that great October weekend right here in 1995 when they packed 55,000 into Taylor Field. We're ready for the kickoff. Let's go back to the booth, and once again, Chris and Chris.
Thank you, Mark. There's Tom Higgins, who says he's having the time of his life as the head coach in Edmonton. He thinks they need 4 or 5 wins in the last 6. Danny Barrett probably thinks the same. He's been frustrated by the inability of this team to play well at home. We'll see if it changes here this afternoon. And we are underway with Winston October returning the football for the Edmonton Eskimos, who will get the first offensive series of this game as they are led by Jason Moss. This the top passing team in the Canadian Football League, and the Eskimos scored on their first 3 possessions last week against Toronto.
Well, Moss is there. You see Mark Nora, Sean Daniels, the big fullback, the wide receiving crew, Hervey, Jackson, Vaughn, Darren Hall, and the big offensive line, St. Germain Bacher at the right guard, Princeton center, Beaton and Morris at the tackles.
Eskimos have the ball and the wind in the first quarter. Rick Walters, the former Rider, jumped the gun, tried to get back, and we'll have a penalty on the first play from scrimmage with Dave Ewell in charge of proceedings this afternoon.
Offside. Edmonton 13. Still first down.
Saskatchewan winning the toss is a story here. They did that last week against BC. Danny Barrett elected to take the win right away, and it turned out to be a problem in the fourth quarter.
Well, they got to get some pressure. And Maxey, Scrivener, Davis have got to be up there. White, Smith, Mitchell at the linebacking group. Defensive secondary together all year, anchored by Gallant at the safety position.
1st and 15. Moss nearly throws the pick on the opening play of the game. George White, who leads the Canadian Football League in tackles, got his hands on the football.
Just looked like 81. Ed Hervey kind of slipped coming back to the football. Nice job of protection by the offensive line. Moss just sitting back there, looks away, comes back. Ball got definitely away from him. Very fortunate not to have that one picked off.
Saskatchewan, as you can see, breaking tradition today with the all-black uniforms. 2nd and 15. Moss looking deep downfield, and he has a man in Hervey with the catch.
Well, anytime you're going to blitz, and Saskatchewan brings an all-out blitz, that puts everybody else in man coverage. And as you say, a little bit of a broken coverage because Ed Hervey wide open down the sidelines. You see 29 coming into your screen. Has to wrap him up. Had that ball been delivered earlier, Chris, Hervey was going to romp all the way into the end zone.
Well, Hervey stretches any defense. Eddie Davis gets burned there. Moss told us yesterday he loves to throw the ball deep. And a 39-yard pass play. As the Eskimos on the move, Nora straight up the gut for positive yards. Mark Nora, 112 yards rushing in the victory on July 13th.
Well, you know, they got quite a couple of good backs. We got Ronald Williams, who's sitting out his 2nd game with an ankle injury. Mark Nora loves to play the football, and as you said, had his best outing of the year against these very Saskatchewan Roughriders. You know, look for him to see the ball a lot today, Chris, because Saskatchewan's ranked dead last against the run.
They have allowed 171 yards a game on the ground. 2nd and 5 out of the shotgun. Moss will pull it down, and he gets stopped short of the first down.
Well, we talked about him earlier. Demetrius Maxey falling off the block. He's playing the end position right now. He used to be a tackle. He's bigger. They feel he can bring the backside. You see him on the top of your screen. Just going to come back off. There's Nate Davis. There's 91. Demetrius Maxey wrapping him up after a short gain.
So Davis with the tackle, forcing 3rd down, and Sean Fleming is in to attempt a 31-yard field goal. He has hit on his last 10 attempts. So Fleming on his game after a slow start this season. Moss the holder. And Fleming good again. Make it 11 straight. And the Eskimos put points on the board with their opening possession of the game. Just underway at Taylor Field in Regina.
Mr. Willie Cole.
The CFL on CBC, brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns. And by Bumper to Bumper, the auto parts professionals.
Get
They are the men in black today. These uniforms were expected to be debuted on the Labor Day game against Winnipeg. At the last minute, the executive said that might be too much of a break with tradition, but they did get quite a roar when they came out unexpectedly in black today, and we'll see if it might be just another way to energize a team that needs to get some momentum.
Any type of catalyst is what you're looking for.
Keith Smith at the helm, the former Arizona star, and his first pass is complete to the fullback, Chris Zarka, lumbering up the sidelines behind the blocking of Rocky Henry. And what a start for Saskatchewan.
Well, we talked about Keith Smith. One of his best qualities as a quarterback is his agility and athletic ability to get outside. Just a play-action pass, gets to the outside, a little swing pass, gives it to Zark, and he does the rest. Look at him go down the sidelines, tight-roping it, staying inside. Nice job of blocking down the field by Henry, allowing him to pick up additional yardage. But as you say, that's the way you want an offense to open up.
58 yards, Chris. That's the longest pass and run play for the fullback Zarka this season. And Saskatchewan in business. Deep in Edmonton territory, Darren Davis with a stutter step down to the 12. Remember last October when Davis ran for 220 yards in the overtime win at Commonwealth?
Well, he can do it, as you say, coming off his best performance last week. Smith, Zarka, and Davis, who just carried the ball last time. Receiving crew, Armstrong, Bendrus, Farthing back in the lineup, and Rocky Henry, the newcomer at wide receiver. On offensive line, O'Day, Green, Comiskey, Terry Mikowski playing the offensive tackle positions.
5 for Davis. It's 2nd and 5 from the 12. Smith looking into the end zone and overthrows the intended receiver, Demetrius Bendros, the only Rider receiver in the lineup today with a touchdown catch.
That is just amazing. It's mind-boggling when you're in the 13th game of the season and you look at your sheet and you talk about all the receivers they have on this team. And granted, they've lost a lot. Curtis Marsh with 5 touchdowns, their leading receiver out. I mean, and they look, and he's the only receiver of all the backs in this game and receiving crew that have any touchdowns.
Well, they only have 9 catches on the year in the end zone. Milt Stiegel has 10 for the Bombers. Alfred Jackson has 9, Mark Boerichter 9. And again, Saskatchewan has to settle for a 3-point attempt, and Paul McCowan puts it through. So the two teams register field goals on their opening possessions here in the first 5 minutes of this game.
But the nice thing is that, you know, Saskatchewan, we talked about the fact their offense has to do something. They have to keep the defense off the football field. They haven't been generating any first downs. What a way to come out. First play, Keith hits Zarka, takes it down the sideline. They at least come away with 3 points.
4-play drive, 63 yards, and of course the big play, 58 yards from Smith to Zarka, who won't stray too far away from Danny Barrett on the sidelines when the Saskatchewan defense is on the field. Smith telling us yesterday he was excited to get veteran receivers like Rocky Henry in the lineup, Dan Farthing back in the starting lineup to help lean on.
Well, I think that's really important in the huddle. I mean, you got to have some sort of veteran leadership in the huddle, because as the plays are calling, you want to know that there's a confidence about it. And when you look in your huddle and you look into the eyes of the receiver, when you see veterans like Farthing, you see veterans like Henry, that gives the quarterbacks a sense of confidence that they know and they can be successful.
Fans trying to rev up the kick team for Saskatchewan as Darren Hall fields the ball and turns it upfield close to the 40-yard line as we join Mark Lee.
Chris, last week Jason Moss was throwing over Gatorade cans, garbage cans, and combating the Eskimo fans when they booed him against Toronto. Here's his side of the story.
Obviously, I was just fired up about it. It just fired me up even more when they kept doing it, and I hope that I hope I don't give them reason to do that for the rest of the year. But you know, I've said my piece about it, and I know they pay hard-earned dollars to go to those games. They can do whatever they want for it, and I should be more professional and not really let it get to me or say anything about it, whether it does get to me or doesn't.
Here's Moss handing it off to Mark Nora, crashing down at the 49-yard line. Well, Jason Moss hasn't given them much to jeer about in Edmonton, but there have been those 3 interceptions in consecutive games this year.
Well, you're right, but I mean, he can do it all, and that's the thing about him. It doesn't seem to bother him. He gets rattled by the fans sometimes, and he showed his frustrations last time, but all he was really doing was just saying, hey, you know what, have patience and have faith, because I will get it done. He's a very confident young man.
And he certainly got it done in the late stages of last week's game. He faked the sneak, and he goes deep looking for Terry Vaughn and overthrowing the intended receiver. Well, an interesting play by Moss on 2nd and a yard.
Well, nice job of pressure, and that's the biggest thing right there, not letting Moss to sit back there and have his way. He kind of looks like he's going to take a knee, kind of goes back. It's a different situation, as you see right there. Getting tackled by Scott Schultz, the newcomer. Late cut of the San Diego Chargers, who's Saskatchewan's very happy to have rotating in that defensive front 4.
Vaughn getting in behind Omar Evans, but the ball overthrown, 3rd down and a yard, and Moss, after some initial contact, falls forward for the 1st down.
He'll get the 1st down.
And not your prototypical quarterback who's tucking behind the offensive line, even though that may be the safest way to go. He just kind of looks, he almost runs over his offensive lineman Baker there, and then decides to use his own brute strength to dive for the 1st down. And eventually, over the years, I guarantee it, he'll start letting his O-lineman do the work for him.
8.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter at Taylor Field, tied at 3. Back to the ground, Mark Nora. And more positive 1st down yardage on the ground for the Eskimos as Nora gets 7.
Well, they do such a great job, and Coach Higgins was talking about the most pleasant surprise of the year as being the play of this offensive line. And I think you have to include 34 Sean Daniels there as well. But I mean, nice job of getting a man on a man right there, creating a seam, and letting the big fullback, Mark Nora, find a hole.
2nd down, the ball in Saskatchewan territory at the Roughrider 53, and there's a 1st down run by Nora as he gets down inside the 50.
Well, he just does it all, but I tell you, not only the offensive line, but Sean Daniels, unheralded, but great job of lead blocking. When he's not lead blocking, he's cutting off the backside. Just a nice job. Look at the drive, keeping the leg. Look at that hole. It's a nice opening by that offensive line, and you know what? This does wear down that defense.
Sean Daniels, a member of the '89 Roughrider Grey Cup winning team. Now veteran of 13 CFL years. Moss with time, looking downfield, and unable to hook up with Ed Hervey again, as Moss has gone deep to Hervey on a couple of occasions already.
Well, when you got this kind of speed, I mean, you look at the receiving core of the Edmonton Eskimos with Hervey, with Terry Vaughn, touchdown Terry Vaughn. You got Rick Walters, Mr. Capable, and of course now newcomer Quincy Jackson, who's been there about 8 games, so he's not really new anymore. They've just got speed, and it's really hard to key on anybody. I mean, on this play, Hervey, he actually gets a couple steps on that. You know that he likes to throw the ball deep. You mentioned that earlier, Chris. I'm sure we're going to see that play again.
2nd and 10 as Moss operates out of the shotgun. Over the middle, and the ball dropped. Rick Walters, who spent 5 years with the Roughriders, would like to have that back.
And one of the things when you run the deep patterns is you stretch the defense vertically. As a result, the linebackers get some depth. You get a little clearing. As a result, look at Rick Walters, wide open across the middle, trying to look where he wants to go before he actually secures the football. And that's what he'd like to have back.
He's been fighting the football now for a few weeks. And Sean Fleming in on 3rd down to punt the ball and try and pin the Saskatchewan Roughriders deep. McCalla and Preston have dropped back for Saskatchewan, and they're going to let this one bounce through the end zone for a single point. So the Edmonton Eskimos, on a 69-yard single by Sean Fleming, take the lead here midway through the 1st quarter in Regina.
It's a truck you can count on in any situation.
Next week on Thanksgiving Monday, it's our traditional double heaping of the CFL on CBC, beginning with the Saskatchewan Roughriders at Montreal to play the Alouettes at 1 Eastern. Then right after that, we go to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where Danny McManus and the Tiger Cats take on the Stampeders. Chris?
Yes, and Mark, we know how the big man likes second helpings. Here's Bendros with the catch. And Smith is hooked up with Bendros for another big Saskatchewan play. Shannon Garrett with the tackle. But for the second straight possession, Saskatchewan opens with a bang. This is a 31-yard pass and run.
Well, it's a nice job of just allowing him to get away from the coverage. They play a little bit of a press coverage, means a little tighter. He beats the coverage, gets in the opening, and the ball is Johnny on the spot right there, hauls it in, and again, a nice first play to open the drive.
Well, Keith Smith, a 4-year starter at Arizona, where he drew some comparisons to Doug Flutie. Play action, and Smith guns another completion, that to Derek Armstrong, as the Riders look sharp in the early going.
And one of the things I find funny, Chris, we talked to Keith Smith yesterday. He really doesn't like to play action, but he's done it successfully today. I mean, just a nice fake right there. Everybody gets pulled inside. He gets to the outside. And another thing we should note about Keith Smith, he's got an excellent gun for an arm. Very strong arm.
He also wanted to play down those Flutie comparisons, a little embarrassed by them. But he did say he's going to have to be as evasive as Flutie to avoid the contact he took last week. That pass dumped over the middle, looking for Zarka. Incomplete.
Chris Zarka. Incomplete, second down.
Let's set the Eskimo defense for you.
Well, we got Dario Romero, Reese, Peterson, Brown at the defensive end, that front four, the Eskimos. Great linebacking crew of Terry Ray, Mobley, and Staton. And of course the secondary, Jackie Kellogg. Used to see him in Calgary. Taylor, Garrett, Carter, and Jones at the corner.
And Chris, it's the first time this year Edmonton back-to-back games with the same starting defense. Smith on the run, gets rid of it, and the ball knocked down on a good play by the safety, Jackie Kellogg.
Nice job of staying with the receiver all the way across the football field, and that is really hard to do, especially when you got a guy with the athletic ability of Keith Smith who can actually take off with the football. He just gets outside. Now you're going to see Kellogg just comes across, tight coverage, reaches across, knocks the ball out away from Dan Farthing.
So Smith has moved Saskatchewan into field goal range once again. Here's Kellogg, who has 8 career interceptions against Saskatchewan. And McCallum surveys a 32-yard attempt. And he puts Saskatchewan in the lead. 4:34 remaining in the opening quarter here at Taylor Field. And it's 6-4 Saskatchewan.
I've always loved to race in Canada. I've had my share of great memories. I'm also a big football fan. I like the Canadian game. To the CFL and CBC, congratulations on the 50th season.
And we're celebrating here today at Taylor Field in Regina. Roughriders with the lead in the early going as Paul McCallum kicks it back downfield. And Winston October from his 22. The former Alouette returner always gives you the impression he's going to bust one.
Winston October.
You know, it's funny, Chris, you talk about this. You got Winston October, you got Darren Hall. Both dangerous weapons anytime they catch that football. And as you say, when you got a guy of that capabilities, when he gives you this automatic great field position for your offense, I mean, what a way to start on your opening, you know, on the drive, on your own 48-yard line, 47-yard line.
So Moss and the Eskimos go back to work. And Mark Nora continues to churn big yards and caught from behind by Jackie Mitchell. Otherwise, Nora might have been going to the end zone. 13 yards, could have been a lot more.
Well, he's like a little pit bull on the last piece of meat. He just keeps going and keeps those legs churning. But look at the offensive line. They just keep moving. They don't stop. One of the sins of an offensive lineman is to make contact and stop your feet. This offensive line is not only making contact, but they're keeping their feet driving, creating that hole.
Again, this defense has been vulnerable against the run this year. Nora with 39 yards already. Now Moss has to pull it down. Ball pops loose. Saskatchewan's got it. Shante Peoples still going. He'd like to give it up, and he does. Gives it right back. Peoples kept looking around to lateral the football, and he had it jarred loose.
Well, Shante Peoples, with already 3 fumble recoveries, tied for first in the league in that category, gets another fumble recovery. And as you say, running down the sideline is looking for someone, trying to create an opportunity to lateral that football, maybe having somebody else on his team take it further down, but loses control, gets tackled. Nice job of jarring the ball loose. There you see Shante Peoples picking it up. He's going to come around now. He's got a wall of blockers. There's White. Mitchell's with him. He wants to lateral the ball. He sees the White of Edmonton ready to tackle him down. He tries to pitch it, gets tackled from behind. An unfortunate incident.
Scott Schultz forced the fumble, at least the first fumble. Bruce Beaton with the tackle forced the Peoples fumble. And now Edmonton has possession back at their own 23-yard line. As Schultz, the native of Moose Jaw out of North Dakota, gets attention.
Well, nice job, as you say. Good pressure coming back on him. Come right after him. They get on Moss. He's sitting back there. They strip the ball, as you say. Schultz there. People's going down. He wants to, just as he's going to lateral it, he gets tackled, as you say, by Bruce Beaton. That's a nice job of the offensive line coming back to make that play. But I think, you know what, the old rule is keep it simple. Don't do anything that might cause you to give up that football again. And sometimes just take care of your own, hold on to it. Otherwise, Saskatchewan would have had great field position.
Schultz continuing to get attention. He was the #1 pick in the CFL draft this year. As you mentioned, in the San Diego camp, is now with the Roughriders, and Danny Barrett says he's going to have to lose maybe 15 pounds to play the Canadian game, but they think they've got a keeper.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you get these big guys up there. Remember, there's no yard off the ball or off the line of scrimmage up in the States. And what it is, it's a brute strength game up there, unless you're playing the outside. Now, Scott is a defensive tackle. He plays inside. As a result, down there, he wants to carry a lot of weight, just do the push. Up here, you got to have a little bit more agility, a lot more movement, and again, the 20-second clock, so that might be some of the reasons he's got to shed a few LBs.
Schultz out, Colin Scribner in, first down Edmonton, back to the ground, and this time, nothing doing for Mark Nora. Travis Smith back in the middle with the hit. He was out for 3 weeks, or at least out of the starting role for 3 weeks with a hip problem.
Well, we always talk about George White, but what a great play by 48, just filling the hole. That's what you have to do. The defensive lineman, occupy the offensive lineman, let your linebacker scrape to the hole, and Travis Smith does a great job of filling it and taking down Nora on that play.
Passing situation for Edmonton, 3 for Nora, 2nd and 7. Flags down, blitz on its way, a completion, but just a short gain to Ed Hervey with the catch. And let's wait for the flag.
Well, a procedure against Edmonton, but a nice job of bringing the blitz on the outside.
Saskatchewan going to decline this.
Illegal formation. Edmonton number 60. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
The illegal formation called, and Chris Morris centered out for an illegal alignment. Sean Daniels, who recovered that People's fumble, is the man being attended to. And we'll take a break here in Regina.
Up too far back.
Well, some concern for Sean Daniels, the 13-year vet.
Well, just an outside blitz, you can see right there. 38, White, coming in. And just as he rolls, take a look. He rolls on the knee right there. Sean Daniels just gets caught up in the action right there. Boy, those are the ones, because you don't see them coming. Those are the worst kind.
Just yesterday, chatting with Tom Higgins about what an impact Sean Daniels has had on the Eskimos offense this year.
Well, I believe the word he used was he's having an outstanding year. I mean, here's a guy that doesn't get a lot of recognition, doesn't carry the football a whole lot. But you know what? I guarantee all the guys that are, carrying the football at that running back position, whether it be Williams or be it Nora, aren't going anywhere without 34 in front of them.
Well, Daniel's able to put some weight on that leg. That's a good sign as he makes his way to the Eskimo bench. And Edmonton will be forced to punt with 2:25 remaining in the opening quarter. Fleming with the 69-yard single his last time, and some movement there by the Roughriders line. Were they drawn offside?
You know the old thing?
Illegal procedure.
Absolutely.
It's number 30. Still third down.
Call is procedure against the Eskimos.
Yves Dussault.
Well, they called Dussault.
5-yard penalty.
You see the center there, Roger Ryanson, snapping the football. But as he lifted his head, Chris, to take a last look at the defensive front, that's when Dussault moved.
Saw Roger before the game, the long snapper, pumped up, a native of Melville, Saskatchewan. And he'll fire it back to Fleming.
Ready!
And it's McCallum across the 40. Ladafius McCalla getting up to the 48-yard line. A 61-yard punt with the breeze at Fleming's back, but a good 19-yard return for the cornerback in his second year with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And great field position for the Saskatchewan offense to take over. The last two drives, Chris, Smith has generated some offense for Saskatchewan. We'll see if that trend continues.
And on the opening play, the long play to Zarka on the first drive, and then he hooked up with Bendros for 31 yards on the opening play of the second drive. This time they go to the ground, and Darren Davis is going to break away from Romero, but right back into more traffic. Shannon Garrett and Doug Peterson there.
Romero does an absolutely wonderful job at the backside end of following the pulling offensive lineman. When your offensive lineman's pulling, most of the time he'll tell you, as a defensive lineman, get in his hip pocket, he'll take you to the football. And on that play, number 72, Dario Romero, was right where Darren Davis was.
So second down and 12 after the 2-yard loss. Pressure from Jackie Kellogg, and the pass incomplete. Intended for Zarka, and the Eskimos putting heat on the young quarterback.
And what they're doing also, Chris, is they're switching. A lot of times as an offense, you'll look at a number. You'll see 5, Jackie, and you'll say, oh, safety blitz. But all they really did was they moved Staten 38 back to safety. They brought Jackie Kellogg right from the bottom of your screen, lined him up at the linebacking position. All it was a switch of positions between Staten and Kellogg, and Saskatchewan didn't recognize it.
We're in the final minute of the first quarter. The Roughriders have been working against the wind as McCallum pulls it down, and he'll take, no, he does punt it, and Harrod was the man putting on pressure. That went off an Eskimo, and who's got the football? A flag is down, however, and no yards likely to be called as one of the up men got hit in the back with the ball.
He got hit right in the helmet. That'll wake you up. He's down there looking for the return guy to take the ball, get this block. The ball rattles right off the old pumpkin.
That was a strange play at either end. Paul McCallum has pulled it down a couple of times this year. Looked like he saw something, and then it closed down as Rob Harrod put on some pressure.
Well, they're doing a nice job. They allow him to make that decision. If he thinks he can get the first down, but watch it, right, hits it right in the pumpkin right there.
Saskatchewan 28, first down.
Andrew Henry, the ball player who gets hit with the football, and as a result, Saskatchewan recovers, but when the ball hits Henry in the helmet, they are within the 5 yards.
No yards called. Nealon Green is in. Let's join Mark.
Chris, Tom Higgins has inserted Nealon Green, as he told us he would yesterday, to put this quarterback into the game while the game is still on the line. He hasn't played since he was pulled the week before Labor Day, but as we all know, he's had some terrific rushing games against Saskatchewan, setting that quarterback single-game rushing record of 180 yards back in 1999.
Yes, this is by design that Nealon Green would see some series in the first half. Tom Higgins has said Jason Moss would start and would finish, but Green would get a chance.
Handoff goes to number 22.
And in what has been a cautiously played first half, it just seemed like the right time to see if Green can change the momentum of this game.
Well, when you look at the situation, when he talked about putting Nealon Green in the game, we thought, oh, is this a confidence thing? They think they're going to have a big lead. They're going to be able to put this in. But as you say, Coach Higgins said the biggest thing is we've been so impressed with the way Nealon Green has developed in practice. He's picking up different things that we want him to know that, hey, he's still a valued part of our offense, and we're going to allow him the opportunity to play some.
2nd down and 6 should be the final play of the first quarter, and Green is on the money to Quincy Jackson, the man you talked about in the opening. So Nealon Green fires a first down strike on the final play of this first quarter. Tom Higgins concerned that Jason Moss would get hurt and they'd be without a man to come off the bench. Nealon Green is that man.
The CFL on CBC, the road to the Grey Cup. Brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns.
Fine Foods and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, building tomorrow's leaders today.
Back at Taylor Field as we get set for the second quarter. 6-4 for Saskatchewan. And that'll be a moral victory for the Roughriders because they worked against the wind in the opening quarter.
And the nice thing is they let their defense, they didn't leave them on the field all the time. They moved the ball, as you say. Keith Smith put together some drives, albeit a lot of them on the first play, but they moved the ball. They came away with, 6 points, and that's a positive right now. They got the lead at the end of the first quarter. There's 3 quarters left. This is the biggest thing, is this offense has to progressively get better quarter by quarter.
And again, Nealon Green now at the controls for Edmonton. Saskatchewan showing blitz. Here they come. Green has his pass knocked down at the line.
Number 15, Nealon Green, has his pass knocked down.
Looked like Nate Davis got one of those big meat hooks on it.
The big man, 6'5", 315 in the middle. Nice job of not getting to the quarterback, but doing the next best thing of getting the hands up. He throws the man down and then gets his hands up. Just tossed that offensive line right to the ground. Hands up, knocked the ball down. The one thing with Nealon Green, Chris, is they got to worry about contain.
You saw Scott Schultz also back in. Edmonton 2 for 6 on second down conversions. Make it 2 for 7 as they get to Nealon Green. Troy Asbell brings him down.
Nice job of just bringing an all-out blitz. They get a good job of pressure, penetration on him, not allow Nealon Green to sit back there, get comfort, not even allow him to make a decision to run the football. They are just in his face right off the bat. Here he comes right around the corner. It's just a mad dog blitz. Right around the defensive tackle. Asbell with the great play.
Here's McCalla, unable to take it on the short hop. A flag down as McCalla had to scramble to get on that football. But it looked like Jed Roberts encroached on the 5-yard restraining zone, a 32-yard punt. And McCalla was in no man's land there, trying to get it on the dead run.
Well, remember, Regina, he always got that
No yards.
win.
Edmonton number 8, 5-yard penalty, first down.
No yards against the Eskimos.
As we look at the first quarter stats here, Saskatchewan 3 to 5 first downs. Yards rushing, that's the big difference right now at the time of possession in favor of Edmonton, but Smith has generated 6 points, or taken him down in position for McCollum to kick 2 field goals to give him the lead.
Saskatchewan averaging under 200 yards passing a game, so that was a big first quarter with 119 yards, and they add more here as Derek Armstrong has his second catch. There is a flag down.
He'll get enough for the
The
first down. There
exact
is a
same
flag down,
blitz
however.
that they got to. Smith
Offside. Edmonton number 5. Penalties declined. First down.
in the last drive. All they did is State goes back to the safety position. Kellogg lines up. He just jumps the gun. Number 5, Jackie Kellogg, come from the outside.
Well, yesterday, Keith Smith told us how much emphasis he'd put on first down production. That's the key to the Canadian game, he surmised, and that has been the case here so far. Not this time. Looking for Dan Farthing back in a starting role. It's been a tough year for Farthing, who pulled a hamstring on the first day of training camp and really hasn't been right ever since.
No, but you know, Smith was very happy to have Farthing back in the lineup. He said, I'm looking for him in leadership. I know that he knows how to read coverage. He knows how to find the holes. He was looking for him on that particular play. One of the things that I found interesting about Smith yesterday, talking to him, was the fact that he says, you know what, with such a big field, you'd think I'd have a better time running, but he says they got such great athletes up here, and they got tremendous speed on the defensive side of football.
Dylan Ching checks in. It's 2nd and 10. Smith out of the shotgun. Short pass. It's complete. Bendross, another catch. So he is relying on Bendross and Armstrong for the most part, and it will be 3rd down.
But all Bendross is doing, he's going 6 yards across the middle. Let's go down and join Mark.
Chris, there's Sean Daniels leaving the field to get some repairs in the Eskimo locker room. They're working on his left ankle. They had retaped it on the bench, and he was in so much discomfort he couldn't get back up on it, so they've cut the tape off. They're going to ice him down, but he's not sure whether he'll return or not.
Looks like he's in a pretty good frame of mind down there, enjoying the ride. Ball bouncing by Darren Hall, and he fields it on the 1. Hall might have allowed that to go in the end zone. Instead, a 54-yard punt has backed up Edmonton. As Bell down, and McCallum does the job, hitting the Eskimos deep. Early 2nd quarter at Taylor Field in Regina. The Eskimos have the football. They're working into the wind, and it's a long field as Nealon Green and the Eskimos start at their own 4-yard line. Mark Nora drilled back. Nate Davis in on the stop as the men in black trying to close down the Eskimo offense here deep.
Well, Nate Davis does a nice job of penetrating, but 91 right there. He comes all the way across. That's what your end does. See, he sits there, takes a 2 count, watches the quarterback, makes sure the ball is handed off. Then he reacts to the football, comes down the line, and makes the play on Nora.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Davis looks like he was shaken up on that tackle. 3 receivers to the wide side. Green short drop has a completion, and Terry Vaughn has his first catch of the game, but it will be short of the first down. Vaughn, the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League. That's catch number 75. Man's unhappy with the placement of the ball, but I do think it is short.
Well, they're going to measure it. That is actually the first time that Jason Moss or Nealon Green has attempted any pass in the direction of the leading receiver to CFL, Terry Vaughn.
Well, a foot short. You're deep in your own zone. Tom Higgins is going to send the big team in.
3rd down, and we're half a yard to go.
Fans thought that Vaughn's momentum had brought him back at least another yard inside where that ball was marked. So they're gambling for the 2nd time in the game, and this one inside their own 15-yard line. Green off the right side. Not much of a surge there, but probably enough.
This always comes down to the mark. They're calling in for the measurement right now. It's always where the referee spots it.
Nealon Green to help them mark the ball.
I'll tell you, it's going to be very close. You see the offensive line coming down, trying to get some penetration. Defensive line trying to get it underneath the offensive line, and
just by the length of the football. And Colin Scrivener getting some attention. That was a little bit more difficult than Tom Higgins had bargained for.
Well, you know you have a lot of confidence in your offense and your offensive line to be that deep in your own zone to go for it on a third down gamble.
Well, the big men up front for Saskatchewan getting banged up. We saw Schultz earlier. Now Scrivener. Nate Davis went to the bench.
All three of the interior linemen have a little bit of a war going on in that pit there.
And we'll join Mark Lee.
Chris, Nate Davis came off for one play holding his left arm. It turns out he hyperextended his elbow. He rubbed it, stayed out for one play, went right back in on that third down gamble by the Eskimos. So he's back in there, but you're right, this defensive line is getting banged up, and we'll wait and see what's going on with Colin Scrivener now.
4 sacks by the front four of Saskatchewan in the first meeting against the Edmonton Eskimos. There's Davis back in. A timeout on the field at Taylor Field in Regina. Colin Scrivener trying to work his way to the Saskatchewan bench. That right leg giving him some trouble. 7-year man. Former teammate of Jason Moss on the other side of the football.
Just going to see they're trying to get underneath. He just gets rolled as he gets pushed back. You can see him right there. Just getting pushed back on the pile. His foot is planted on the ground, and I'm sure that's what caused is causing this discomfort right now. Colin Scrivener.
So at the 14, Edmonton has a first down after the successful gamble. Green again quickly fires and has a completion to Quincy Jackson, who has 2 100-yard games in his last 3 starts, and of course provided the winning touchdown last week.
Well, just a nice job sitting back there. Good protection. Nora giving him some help. Just sits right in the zone right there, right between the 2 defenders. You see right between Eddie Davis, Omar Morgan. Ball thrown right there. Nice job. Nice catch.
First down at the 25. And doesn't look like there's any rust on Green. They'll pull it down. As Mark mentioned, over 180 yards, a CFL record for a quarterback 2 years ago against Saskatchewan for Nealon Green. And not only can he run, Chris, but Tom Higgins told us yesterday he thought Mark Nora would run better with Nealon Green in.
Well, absolutely, and why that is the defensive ends, the 2 guys on the outside have to contain responsibilities against Nealon Green. That opens up the inside and allows a little bit more of a running lane for the running backs.
2nd and 3, and Green back to the air, incomplete. Pretty good coverage there by Omar Morgan as he jarred Quincy Jackson.
Nice job of timing on the play by Morgan, anticipating just when Jackson would catch the football and then driving his shoulder pads into his back. It's exactly what you want to do to dislodge that football. Watch timing. That's just a nice job of getting contact just as the receiver makes contact with the football.
So just shy of the 5-minute mark in the second quarter. Van Fleming in to punt against the breeze with McCalla and Preston deep. The punt coming down to McCalla at his 41. Flag is dropped as McCalla returns it to the 45, a 37-yard kick into the wind.
He's tackled at the 45.
Roughriders starting from their 45. There was no flag on the play. And Darren Davis right up the middle. He is drilled after a gain of 7. Dario Romero finishes off the Saskatchewan running back.
Good explosion by the offensive lineman, getting on somebody. But if you're going to get blocked, you got to fight to get off the block. And 72, Dario Romero does a nice job of coming across. Putting the finishing touches on Darren Davis.
2nd and 2. They have to get across midfield for a first down. And they won't do it. Zarka is stopped short of the midfield stripe, but now it's Danny Barrett who has a decision to make after the tackle by Doug Peterson.
Well, and he may think about this because of the fact Both tackles, Reese and Peterson. Nice job of both getting penetration and grabbing Zarka before he could get back to the line of scrimmage. Sure, it's 3rd and short, but look at the penetration right there by Peterson. Nowhere for Zarka to go on that play.
Tom Higgins telling us yesterday he's got some sluggers up front. All the D linemen are essentially defensive tackles. 3rd down gamble. And they are going to be close. You can see Zarka stretching out. And let's see where they spot the ball. Anxious time for Danny Barrett. I'm not sure.
Calling for a measurement on the play.
This is one of those situations when you got a yard to go. Does the quarterback just get behind the offensive line and have them drive for the 1st down? Or do you risk handing it off to the fullback, in this case Zarka, and hope that he can get it? Remember, the longer it takes to get the ball and the guy that's going to carry the ball, the more time the defense has to react.
Wow. They got it by a chain link.
1st down, Riders.
1st down, and the coach can breathe a sigh of relief.
You see them just coming underneath. They're pushing back. Romero 72, a nice job of standing up to center. But as you say, just enough.
Zarka doesn't stretch out, and they don't get the 1st down. This is your kind of game. They're fighting in the pits.
They'll be using a lot of ice after this game.
New set of downs for Saskatchewan. Smith play action. Delivers downfield, has a completion, and once again Derek Armstrong. 3rd catch. He had just 10 coming into this game.
That'll move the chains. Another
made his debut on Labor Day.
Well, another play action. Just sit back there, freeze the linebackers. Just get them to hold for a second. Allow the receiver, as you say, Armstrong in this case, to come open. Ball is delivered on the spot. Nice catch, and the ball keeps moving. And Saskatchewan, Smith is looking pretty comfortable back there right now, Chris.
Done a good job again. A star quarterback at Arizona. Just his 2nd start. Looks downfield. A battle for it. And it's knocked down by Perry Carter. Pretty good hand fight there. Rocky Henry, the veteran who has just been acquired by Saskatchewan, was the intended receiver.
Well, nice job of actually stretching the defense vertically, going deep. I think the one thing that Keith Smith would like to do on this play is get a little bit more distance on this football. Bring it down a little bit more. Don't have it come down so flat. Have a little bit more arc in that ball and let Henry run under the football.
Rocky Henry creating a little separation there, but the pass incomplete. 2nd and 10. Smith with time, looks downfield again, and has Bendros. So Bendros and Armstrong have been the favorite targets, but there is a flag on the play.
And usually where the flag was thrown, is most of the time it's a holding.
Holding, Saskatchewan 54. 2nd down repeated.
Jeremy O'Day, the Saskatchewan center, the culprit.
Well, Jeremy O'Day, the center, right in the middle right there. Going to watch him on this play. Just going to get beat. So what does he do? He puts the arm around, tries to tackle him. Don't let your quarterback get hit, but unfortunately a lot of times when you do that, the referee is right there. The line judge is going to throw that flag every time.
Ball back to the 52 of Edmonton. 2nd down over and 20. Quarterback draw. Here's Smith down to the 47. There's a guy with a slight concussion last week, but says he can't allow that to stop him from running the football.
But you also know he's going to run the football if he can. This is a design play. This is totally designed. Pulls it right down, waits for the blocking to take shape, tries to find an opening, picks up yardage, but not near enough to keep the chains moving.
Terry Ray stopped him there. 3rd down. And McCallum in to punt. He'll try and pin Edmonton deep once again. 6 minutes remaining in the opening half. October fields that at the 2. Chris, I'm surprised they wouldn't let that bounce through for a single point. Edmonton backed up once again, apparently confident they can move the football.
Hockey Night in Canada will mark the advent of its 50th season on television with a special Wednesday night doubleheader. Coming up at 7 Eastern at midweek, it's Ottawa and Toronto. And then immediately following that, Chris will be out west as Edmonton plays Calgary. And the early prognosis here on Colin Scrivener, not good. It appears he has a partial tear of his MCL. He's gone for the half and maybe the game, Chris.
Tough news. Jason Moss back in, had trouble with the snap. This ball picked off. George White has the interception and coughs it up. Bruce Beaton's got the ball. That's the second time that Saskatchewan has caused a turnover and given it right back.
Well, it's the second time they have it. I tell you what, as soon as you get a turnover, what you got to do is you got to put a guy on Beaton. Keep Beaton away from the ball right now. He's the man that's causing all this stuff again. Nice job of Schultz
Illegal
laying a hit.
Saskatchewan declined, first down.
Was a Saskatchewan penalty that is declined, and so the ball moved out from the shadow of the goalpost. Great tip there. And White has the interception, his second of the year, but the defenders have coughed up the ball twice.
And Beaton's got to carry the ball twice. That is I'm envious of this man.
You got your hands on the football, but never twice in one game.
Never twice in a year.
Mark Nora, tough slugging there. Across the line of scrimmage, not a whole lot more. Shotty Peoples with the tackle.
I'm going to come over.
Well, that's two big bad breaks. But the defense of Saskatchewan, we talked about how tough they are. Maxey right there, 91. Let's watch him at the bottom here, working right now. Just keeps working, comes back inside. That's the leadership and the toughness you need out of a defensive lineman, and that's what he brings to this Rough Rider defense.
Yard on the play, 2nd and 9 for Jason Moss. And Moss has a completion to Ed Hervey in front of the Saskatchewan bench. There is a discussion of whether he had a foot down. Danny Barrett debating it. Did he have complete control as he stepped out? And they are ruling it a catch.
Well, he's got such great speed. I mean, you're always going to be in a trail position. You can see right there, and a nice job of leading the receiver with the football by Jason Moss, putting it where only Ed Hervey can make the catch. Keeps his foot in bounds, and as a result, they have a first down.
Hervey closing in on 1,000 yards for the season, his second catch of the day, and now Moss looking deep downfield, and an incompletion. What a wrestling match that was, as again Hervey was locked up in a duel for the football.
And a flag thrown behind them by the referee on the sidelines.
And which way is the call going?
Nobody on the football field's too sure whether they should go all the way up or bring it back. Look like a bunch of cattle grazing out there.
Well, Hervey was in a battle there.
Forward pass interference. Saskatchewan 25.
And they're calling Omar Evans for pass interference. That was a long discussion before they determined who the culprit was.
And those are the tough ones, Chris, when all the referees have to get together, they head up and say, hey, what do we got here? Which way we're going to go? It's almost like they're taking a secret ballot there.
And Danny Barrett showing his frustration. First down for the Eskimos. Moss on the bootleg, and it didn't fool the Riders, and White brings him down.
Quarterback number 12, Jason Moss.
Tyson St. James supplying the initial pressure.
Tackled by 76, Tyson St.
A nice job initially of the bootleg action, but this play would work so much more effective when you have a Nealon Green running this. Right here, Jason Moss does not have the speed or quickness of the Nealon Green, so when he gets to the outside, that allows the defense to react and come back, and on that play, as you say, Tyson St. James comes up and makes the play.
2 drives for Nealon Green, 2 punts as an end result. Now Moss has them going with under 3 minutes to go. 2nd and 10. Moss looking deep downfield, and this is picked off in the end zone by Omar Morgan. And for the first time today, the defense doesn't give it right back.
Well, they blocked Bruce Pete, and that's why they did. But I'll tell you what, seriously, on this note, it looks like Ed Hervey loses sight of this football. The ball is in the air. Ed Hervey's just going to run a streak pattern, take it inside right here. He's being covered by Omar Evans. Now he loses sight of the ball or doesn't anticipate the football coming to him. Omar Evans stays with her, Morgan, and does a nice job of bringing down a key interception at a key time.
92 FM's Rita McNally.
The CFL on CBC. The road to the Grey Cup. Brought to you by Bumper to Bumper, the auto parts professionals.
Well, the Eskimos' high-powered offense has been stalled this afternoon. Omar Morgan with the interception, the second of the game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now Darren Davis squirts across the 35 for a first down. Doug Peterson hanging on. 2:39 to play first half. The wind at Saskatchewan's back, and they have a 2-point lead.
Well, nice job on defense, but a nicer job by that offensive line. Just giving it to Davis, tucking him, letting him find his way. And as you see, the lineman, 68, Andrew Green, keeping driving. Never stopping the legs.
I said first down, but the ball was spotted inside the 40. And it was a second and short situation. Now a first down for Saskatchewan.
Well, those second and short aren't so bad after all, because it gives them an opportunity. You've seen so many times over the years where they go deep with it because they know that if it ends up being a third and short, with that little to go, good opportunity to make it.
Not after that last third down gamble that Saskatchewan not going to waste the down. Keith Smith at the controls, looking poised, dumps it off, and here's Davis, and Davis scampers across the 45-yard line.
If there's any way I could put the football in this man's hands every play, I would do it. He is just exciting, and it's what he does after he catches a football that really causes defenses trouble. Just a little dump pass over the middle to Darren Davis, but he makes people miss.
20th catch on the year for Davis. Smith to the sidelines while they measure. And again, another free down of sorts. It'll be second and less than a yard.
I think it's a great opportunity when you got a guy like Keith Smith to have an opportunity to talk to a quarterback who is a head coach in Danny Barrett.
Fascinating story, drafted by the Detroit Tigers. Actually was property of the Toronto Blue Jays as well, but gave up a baseball career because he wanted to be a quarterback. In fact, the Tigers gave him a signing bonus of $250,000. He had to return that money when he opted to go to Arizona and pursue a football career.
50-50 jackpot already at $6,000.
His rights still owned by the Kansas City Royals.
Of halftime.
As he has shortstop credentials that they say are major league, and look out, Jack Kellogg was nearly headed the other way.
Well, one of the things that happens, Chris, is when you got a rookie quarterback, sometimes they're guilty of looking where they're going to throw the football. Hey, a veteran like Jackie Kellogg, number 5, he's reading the quarterback's eyes. He sees this all the way. He baits him a little bit, then it comes right back, and as he just about picks that football away from Dan Farthing.
Well, Kellogg was released by the Calgary Stampeders. Seems to have found a home as the safety in Edmonton. 2nd and 10. Smith looks the other way and overthrows the intended receiver, Jason French. First time he's called French's number today, but it'll be third down.
Well, the offense kind of shuts down right there. They're trying to get something going.
There we go, come on.
Keith Smith's trying to figure out what we got to do to penetrate this Edmonton defense. They seem to have the only success they have is with Darren Davis, either running or catching dump passes out of the backfield.
McCallum once again with the wind at his back. October awaits this kick at his 9. Winston October drilled before he got to the 20-yard line as we join Markley.
Chris, 1:27 to the half. Here's what's coming up on our halftime show. We'll hear from Jason Moss, that hot-blooded quarterback who lets his emotions run high at football's most important position. We'll also join Don Whitman for his scrapbook and a look back to October 14th, 1995, the day Taylor Field set a regular season attendance record, a tremendous crowd of 55,000. All coming up at the half, as well as your comments.
Mark Taylor Field's been tough on Jason Moss in this game, but I think he's one of the most compelling stories in the league this year, and it was quite a chat with him yesterday. Mark Nora, nothing doing. The run defense of Saskatchewan has stepped up this afternoon. Nate Davis has 2.
Nora is tackled by 48.
Well, this is exactly what Saskatchewan wanted to do, was to stuff the run, force Moss to throw the football. They've done that successfully today. Again, great penetration at the point of attack. George White has a nose for the football.
Clock running, 2nd and 10. And if Saskatchewan's defense can stop here, you'll see a timeout perhaps, and they could get the ball back with time to do some damage before the end of the half. An incomplete pass intended for Terry Vaughn. Omar Evans in coverage. Quick 2 and out with 62 seconds remaining.
Quick 2 and out is right. The ball, again, not really well thrown. A little behind Terry Vaughn. I think, as everybody else watching who's an Edmonton fan is, you have to get Terry Vaughn involved in your offense early. You can't wait to the second quarter to start throwing him footballs. You know, you take him out of the football game. He's a game breaker. Put him in.
Fleming to kick to McCallum. Preston awaiting at the Saskatchewan 50. Short kick. McCallum at midfield with a flag down. So Keith Smith and the Roughriders will have the football in the Edmonton side of the field with 52 seconds to play in the first half.
You know, going back to Edmonton's offense, I'm wondering why they've abandoned the run.
No yards. Edmonton 76. First down.
You know, they were getting some good success with Nora, with a little bit of the bootleg action. Now they're just basically doing a dive, just handing it straight up, allowing Saskatchewan to take nothing away from Saskatchewan's defense, who are stopping them. But they had successful plays in the first quarter, and they've gone away from them.
But again, Danny Barrett felt that with Demetrius Maxey at the other end, opposite of Peoples, they get a lot tougher against the run, and they have been today. Play action, Smith rolling. Throwing, short toss, complete. And Dan Farthing with the catch at the 45 of Edmonton.
Well, Dan Farthing again being covered by Jackie Kellogg, who reads the quarterback as he's coming around. They get caught in that no-win situation. We can't leave the coverage we're on. But a nice job equally by Keith Smith of dumping the football, and at least picking up positive yardage with Dan Farthing.
Farthing closing in on 5,000 yards in his distinguished Saskatchewan career. 2nd and 5. Just over a half minute to go. Here's a completion over the middle. Demetrius Bindras steps out at the 23. He's been the favorite target this afternoon.
Well, I mean, he has speed to burn, and when you get him across the middle, and the coverage guy is in a trail position, he's just going to slide right underneath the coverage. Right away, he's got steps on it. Now he uses what he's got, great speed, to take it the rest of the way.
The ball on the Edmonton 23. 27-yard gain for Bindras. Looking for his first 100-yard game of the year. Here comes the blitz. Smith got it away. And incomplete, intended for Bindras, who was well covered by the official, and Bindras shows his frustration.
Well, he had the right play called. Keith Smith saw the blitz coming. They're bringing the blitz. Bindras reads it, cuts across the middle. Just going to come right up here. Nice job. Gets the ball away, but as you say, Bindras, he's going to come across the middle and hit. Look who he runs into. Gets distracted by the line judge.
That's Bob Redekop. 2nd and 10. Smith Gets it away, an open man, drop ball. Bendros couldn't reel it in.
Well, Bendros with a couple steps on Shannon Garrett. Ball is thrown nicely by Keith Smith. Bendros has got to come up with this catch just off the fingertips in the end zone.
The only man who has caught a touchdown pass in the Saskatchewan lineup today couldn't bring in his third of the year.
Well, I think Keith Smith knows that was a pretty well thrown football. He needs his receivers to start coming up with some of those key catches.
Boy, Smith has shown you flashes of why the Roughriders think he could be a long-term answer. They botch the field goal. Look out! That's Jermaine Jones, and no one's going to catch him. What a mistake by the Roughriders in the final minute of the first half when it looked like they would add to their lead. Instead, the Eskimos have the lead.
You know what, Chris, we've seen two big plays by the Saskatchewan defense, a fumble recovery, an interception when they turn the ball right back to Edmonton. And then, as you say, with under a minute to go, to botch a field goal attempt where you have an opportunity to put points offensively on the board and allow this going into the half. This is just a heartbreaker.
Jermaine Jones with his first CFL touchdown as Dylan Ching had trouble with the snap. We saw a botched field goal pin last night. Cost the BC Lions a game. And you wonder if this will cost the Saskatchewan Roughriders a game. They have 30 minutes and 14 seconds to recover.
Well, you know, you talk about the three aspects of the game, and a lot of times we don't really talk about it because it's offense or defense that usually decides the football game. But as you say, all of a sudden, you got these botched holes on the field goal attempt, and just at critical times. I mean, he takes it, Jermaine Jones picks it up, and instead of being down, you walk in with the lead.
Edmonton Eskimos with their first lead of the day. And that would hurt. It has been an unusual first half, dominated by the defenses. And a 5-point Eskimo lead.
Well, you know, even though they're 3-9, this is definitely a test of character because, you know, Chris, they have played pretty good this first half. They've had some breaks. They've turned over a couple big key defensive plays that they should have kept themselves. Now they got the big turnover on special teams. They got to go in a half and say, you know what, we played a pretty good first 30 minutes. We can compete with the Eskimos. We can beat these guys. You have to put that in their mindset.
79-yard touchdown. First, Bendros looked like he had one in the end zone for 6. And the next play provides 6 the other way. Seen some strange plays this year. The Eskimos victimized at home against Calgary with that 2-point convert that went the other way. And last night, the touchdown by Alfred Payton, taking the ball right out of the hands of Ben Sankey. And about 10 minutes later, reaching the end zone. And now this.
We also saw Joe Fleming in Calgary, another defensive lineman with a touchdown yesterday.
Well, a little reverse. McCalla coming the other way. Ladolfius McCalla. And he ran out of real estate at midfield with 5 seconds on the clock. A 30-yard return. There is a wind at the back of Paul McCallum. Let's see, do they try a 62-yard attempt here?
What a nice call at this particular time. Little reverse action. Go against the flow of the defense. Ladolfius with a nice job, as you say, giving him good field position. With 5 seconds left, though, Chris, it's going to be tough.
Well, time for only one play. Might have given McCallum a chance to drive one downfield, but after the last field goal, they are going to try this. A Hail Mary from Smith downfield, and the ball nearly caught by Rocky Henry on the tip. Well, you throw the ball downfield, maybe hope for a miracle or a penalty.
And you can hear up here, we can hear the Edmonton coaching staff, knock the ball down. Don't try and catch it, knock it down. As you say, Rocky Henry almost the recipient of a tip ball. The ball goes up. They're trying to catch it instead of knocking it down. As a result, as so often happens, the ball bounces up, and Rocky Henry, 82, almost comes up with a catch.
Well, a strange first half. Here's Mark Lee.
Thanks, Chris. With Eskimos head coach Tom Higgins, I guess you had every reason to believe you could be down by a couple of touchdowns at the half, but your leading here is this what you call opportunistic football.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we could be down, but we're not. You know, you just got to go with the flow. Sometimes you get bounces and sometimes you don't. That's just the way she goes.
What about your quarterback situation? You've alternated Jason Moss and Elon Green. Who will you go with in the second half?
Oh, Jason goes. If Jason's healthy, he's going.
All right. Good luck in the second half, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. It's the Eskimos in front, 11-6 at the half. Stay with us. Our halftime show is next when we come back to Taylor Field.
Anything inside the lines, when I'm on the field, there's not one person that can say I can't do something.
In pro sports, opportunity may knock only once. This season in Edmonton, when Jason Moss got his chance to come off the bench, he seized the day.
I want to go in there and do something to keep the offense going and maybe win a game here and there doing that. And so that was my whole focus, my whole goal coming into this year was just not to let the team down and work very hard and not let my opportunities pass me by.
Edmonton's last 4 games have been decided by 1 point. Moss has lived dangerously, fashioning daring last-minute comebacks, throwing caution to the wind.
I try to do the same things I do at the end of the games the whole game. It just doesn't seem to work out that way. But at the end of the games, you know, I have a lot of confidence in the guys around me. So basically, I just try not to screw up. I just try to go out there and give them the ball.
He's turned into our leader. He's turned into a first top-ranked quarterback. The only time you can start using superlatives and compare him to other quarterbacks is longevity now. He needs to produce over a long period of time, but he'll be given that opportunity. He's got to stay healthy, but he's everything that we expected him to be, and he's proven it each and every time out.
On the field, I play with my heart, and I play like every down is my last, because I don't know when I'm ever going to be taken out. I don't know when any of my plays is going to be my last, but I'm not going to slide. I'm going to try to get every yard I possibly can. Everyone's been telling me to do that. Well, I'm not going to do that. And whether I take punishment for it or what have you, I'll take it. I physically train my body to take those hits. Running backs, O-linemen, they do it the whole game. What's to say a quarterback can't do it?
The CFL has become a proving ground for young quarterbacks anxious to go to the NFL, but Moss says he's in no hurry to leave.
I've come up here wanting to play here and wanting to play my best up here. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to get myself ready to go to the NFL or play anywhere else. I enjoy playing here. I enjoy the opportunity I was given here, and I seriously think this is the funnest game to play.
And in this football game this afternoon, Jason Moss, sharing the first half with Elon Green, has completed 70% of his passes for 57 yards. But those interceptions still his Achilles heel. It's 11-6 at the half.
Quarterback, he's going to pass.
CFL Scrapbook with Don Whitman. Brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns.
When I first started covering football, 2 things I never thought I'd ever see in the CFL. A Grey Cup game in Regina, and over 55,000 fans at a regular season game at Taylor Field.
Welcome to sold-out Taylor Field. If this were a city, it would be the 3rd largest in Saskatchewan today.
Official attendance, 55,438, almost 3,000 more than would attend the Grey Cup game 3 weeks later. And to the delight of the record crowd, the Roughriders beat the Calgary Stampeders 25-20.
Yes, Rider pride was certainly alive and well that late season day in 1995.
That may well have been one of the best afternoons of football I've ever spent here in Regina. 11-6, the home team down at the half, and What an interesting first half it was. A total of 6 turnovers. The Riders have probably botched at least 3 potential scoring chances. On the other hand, you can look at it, Eskimos getting the ball bouncing in their favor, but I can tell you this, that frustration is building on that Rider bench. Players yelling execution after they blew that last field goal attempt. Let's go to the booth now for their first half highlights. Chris and Chris.
Well, I dare say, Mark, this may not be one of the most memorable afternoons. It was an ugly first half, certainly an unusual one from both sides.
Well, I tell you what, if I'm Edmonton, I'm a team that's on the way up. If I'm Saskatchewan, I'm a team ready to throw up right now. The first half was a game of miscues. Honestly, every break they go against them, they were doing it.
Well, Saskatchewan did a lot of things right and then just gave it right back.
Well, you know, they pick up a fumble. Shante Peoples, nice job, his 4th fumble recovery. And then he tries to make something happen. He says, you know what, we're going to try and score on defense. I'm going to try and lateral the ball. Bruce Beaton would have nothing of it. They cause the ball to be fumbled, and Edmonton recovers.
Chris, this defense is playing so well, and later an interception against Jason Moss by George White.
Well, again, a deflection, a nice play, little tip drill. George White comes up with the football. Now he's going to turn into something positive, right? Wrong. The ball gets jarred loose, and again, Bruce Beaton, 62, comes up with a fumble recovery.
Both times when the ball was deep in Edmonton territory in scoring territory, and late in the half again in scoring territory. But look who scores.
You know what? This is where you take a positive to the locker room. We have the lead if I'm a Saskatchewan fan. All of a sudden, we blow the hold on a field goal, and we go into the locker room and have time down. Inexcusable.
Well, Mark was right. This could be a couple of touchdown lead for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but we see it so often with teams that are struggling to win. They just seem to find ways to lose. Mark?
Right, Chris, never a dull moment here on CBC Sports Saturday. 11-6, the Eskimos have a 5-point lead as we get ready for the second half kickoff.
Gorgeous late September afternoon on the prairie. We're at Taylor Field. A 5-point Eskimo lead as we get set for the second half. But first, let's join Mark Lee.
Rider head coach Danny Barrett. Danny, your defense stalled that potent Eskimo offense in the first half, but you guys, botched several chances to score in this football game. What did you say to your team at the half to keep it from coming unglued?
Well, we don't worry about it coming unglued. The bottom line is that, you know, we've given them everything here. So now let's go take what's rightfully ours. You know, the game is ours if we want it. Let's go take it.
And Keith Smith is looking awfully composed.
Well, you know, we talked about that yesterday. The guy can play in this league, and he's going to get it done for us today.
Good luck in the second half, Danny.
Thank you.
Winston October with the return. Jason Moss has been slowed down by this Eskimo defense and outshone by Keith Smith, or by the Rider defense and outshone by Keith Smith this afternoon.
Well, here's a guy that threw for over 300 yards last week, ended up throwing a Gatorade container, and he's only 3 for 10 right now. Really having a tough day, but let's give credit to that Saskatchewan defense for that.
Well, Danny Barrett trying to accentuate the positive. There were a number of positive facets of the Saskatchewan game. Nate Davis was certainly one of them in the first half, and that Saskatchewan defense has shown up to play today.
Well, the boys in the middle, Demetrius Maxey, Solti, they've done a great job. We look at the stats in the first half. First downs, neck and neck, 9 apiece. Time of possession, favoring the Edmonton Eskimos. Yards rushing, slightly in favor of the Eskimos. But it's a game of miscues in the first half and botched opportunities by the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And here's the Edmonton Eskimos, number 2 in the league in yards, held to 109 in the first half. But there's a big play. Darren Hall with the catch to the Saskatchewan 33. He got in behind Omar Evans. And again, we mentioned it at the outset. Moss says he likes to air it out, and he does successfully here.
Well, he just answered his critics right there. Was he having a slow first half? Definitely. Is he going to sit on that? No way. Comes back, airs it out again, as you say. Beats double coverage. What a nice throw by Jason Moss over Adolphius McCullough.
37 yards to the newcomer Hall. Plucked off the Calgary practice roster. Now Nora flagged down as Nora got to the 30, dropped the ball, and it's picked off. Jackie Mitchell's got it, and now he throws it across to Omar Evans.
Well, the second time we've seen after a great play an attempt to lateral the football. I'm sure the second flag was thrown. They're going to call it a forward lateral, but why risk it? hold on to the football, take something positive, hopefully, on a turnover. We still have to see what the first flag is about.
Holding. Edmonton 57. Penalties declined. Offside pass. Saskatchewan on the run. First down.
Val St. Germain's holding penalty is declined, and Nora's fumble, the 4th turnover of the game by the Eskimos.
Well, just a delayed draw. Let the offensive lineman block. Let Nora find it. He gets the ball jarred loose. Ball comes in again. We see an attempt, albeit a forward lateral in this case, to try and pick up extra yards. I think that you just take the turnover and go down.
Jackie Mitchell, who was a cut of the Edmonton Eskimos, having a big afternoon. The fumble recovery, loose ball, bouncing back up into the hands of Darren Davis, and a strange afternoon seems to be getting stranger.
Well, I don't know if they're spraying silicone or something very slippery on the surface of the football, but as you say, they've really had a hard time finding the handle to keep their hands on the football. And as you say, a great rider bounce right there, the ball bouncing right back into Darren Davis's hands.
An unusual 5-yard gain by Davis, who's number 5 in CFL rushing. 2nd and 5. Smith steps up. He'll take off, and he'll have the first down. And Smith turns the corner, now steps out at the Edmonton 50-yard line.
Well, that brings some excitement from the Regina fans right here. They're all excited about the newcomer. Haven't seen him play a whole lot. Does a nice job. They're bringing a blitz. It gets pushed out. Jackie Kellogg gets pushed outside. Smith does a nice thing of pulling the ball down and using an athletic ability, scrambling to pick up a nice chunk of yardage.
24 yards for Smith. Ran for over 1,000 in college. Play action once again. Ben Ross turns it up. And a nice saving tackle there.
And one of the nice things, you run play action, you freeze the linebackers. Does a nice job. Now, you know what? They get the ball to Demetrius Bendros, but Armstrong, number 6, with a nice job of coming back and help him spring him loose.
How about Albert Reese, a defensive tackle, coming across to make a touchdown-saving tackle on Bendros?
Well, that's why there's 12 guys on the field. Just because you're playing defensive line doesn't mean you shouldn't be around that football. Nice job of hustle by the big man, Albert Reese, in that play.
Steve Smith now at 200 yards passing on the day. And it's the same script as last week, when Danny Barrett mentioned Smith gave us a chance to win, and he's certainly doing that for Saskatchewan here today.
Well, he's got a lot of confidence in what it says at halftime. He says, you know what, he's going to take us. He's going to get us the victory today. So, I mean, that's a sign that Danny feels that he's found the guy he wants it to help.
Still looking for his first touchdown pass, and got an official down now.
Well, a victim of the turf monster.
Got a bad flag anyway.
Watching him kind of walk off the field off camera here, he kind of caught his foot and went down hard.
Must be an old offensive lineman.
I tell you what, offensive linemen are dancers. We're smooth.
Looks like he's going to be okay. First down for Saskatchewan. Well, Danny Barrett started with Marvin Graves 7 games later. His season ending with a neck injury. Kevin Glenn next, and he has foot problems that have sidelined him. Keith Smith, number 3 in line. He was supposed to be brought along slowly, but he's in the fire now. Nice fake. And a throw for Farthing, who was well covered by Jack Kellogg.
Well, one of the things that happens, Chris, is that Dan Farthing is trying to sit in the hole, but the defensive back is not going for that. Kellogg is sitting right with them. If you're going to make adjustments, you're going to say to Dan Farthing, don't sit in the hole, keep running, and I'll lead you with the pass, because right now it was a great fake, but he's trying to put the ball to a spot and Kellogg will have none of it.
Money, 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 left!
So it's 2nd and 10. 5th play of the drive for Saskatchewan. Counter play, and it is snuffed.
Handoff goes to number 8,
Doug
Darren Davis.
Peterson was waiting for Darren Davis.
He's tackled by 23, Shannon Garrett, to 94, Doug Peterson.
Yeah, those are one of the plays you try and get to go against the grain or the rush of the defensive lineman, hoping to get him one way and go back against it. That, as you say, Peterson right there, Mobley on the bottom of the pile, having none of it, stopping it short, and of course, McCollum on to punt in the 3rd down situation.
You know, Doug Peterson is such a warrior when he's on the field. He was here about 3-4 hours before the game, quietly reading a book in the Eskimo dressing room. Then he goes to battle. Here's October. And Winston October dragged down just short of the 20-yard line by Sean Gallant. Early 3rd quarter here in Saskatchewan. Back at Taylor Field, where Saskatchewan's trying to end a 5-game home losing streak against the Edmonton Eskimos, who have the wind at their back in the 3rd quarter. 10:20 to play in the 3rd period. And Mark Nora crashing to the 25, gets 5 on 1st down. A familiar pattern to this game as far as the Saskatchewan Roughriders are concerned, Chris. Good, stingy defense. Look at this. 5 times this year they've lost games allowing 21 points or fewer. Last year, when they had big offensive production, they lost 6 games when they scored over 3 touchdowns in a game.
Absolutely. They got a better defense this time, but their offense is kind of letting them down. But so far this game, the offense seems to be moving the ball positively.
2nd and 5. Moss, the receiver, fell on the play. Quincy Jackson lost his footing. He's had a sore foot, missed a day of practice earlier this week. A little slow to get up, and it will be 3rd down.
Well, Quincy Jackson absolutely went down. Omar Morgan, number 3, who coming to the bottom and right left of your screen, is not really looking at the football. He's thinking he's going to make a tackle on Jackson. Had he realized Jackson went down, he might have been able to pick that football.
Jackson hobbles off. An arch problem has slowed him. And there is McCalla deep along with Preston. It'll be the former Stampeder, Rock Preston. Gets close to the 50. So once again, the Riders with pretty good field position to start another drive. Went back to work on offense. Darren Davis, a nifty run as he picks his way into Edmonton territory.
Well, Darren Davis, all 5'8" of them, he just does a nice job of just jitterbugging through the football, right through the hole, gets the ball, fights off a tackle, changes direction, making people miss, picking up positive yardage.
In a defensive duel, 13 yards for Davis. 37 on the day, 1st down. Davis once again stuffed at the 45 after 3. Interesting, Chris, that these 2 teams came into this game 7th and 8th in defensive yards allowed, separated by only 1 yard at this point in the year.
Well, they're doing a nice job today, both sides of the ball, as far as stopping the run. But I tell you what, watching that play develop and unfold, nobody is backside watching Smith if he pulls it down on a bootleg.
2nd and 7. And Smith guns that incomplete. Derek Armstrong, I think, was the intended receiver, although when it sailed by him, Ben Ross was in the neighborhood.
Well, very fortunate to get that football off as Dario Romero right in his face. And as we see Smith come off to the sidelines, he almost gets his hand hurt because he just pushes him down and lands on it a little bit.
6th punt of the game for McCallum. But when you're punting into the wind, it's nice to be standing at your own 50. punt. Hall from his 5. Brings it out close to the 15. A 40-yard punt into the wind and a 9-yard return halfway through the third quarter in Saskatchewan.
Step inside, he's going to take radically. He's going to go radically.
Well, you see Winston October, number 9 there. One of the nice things he does, take a look at him. He's not going to catch the football, but his job is to be the lead blocker. Nice hit. Look how he clears the path right there. Knocks that guy right on his can. Nice job of leading Darren Hall on the punt return.
That was Teddy Neptune getting hit into orbit by Winston October. First down, Jason Moss going deep once again. Terry Vaughn had it tipped away. Great sprawling defensive play. Omar Evans with Vaughn appearing to have a step.
Well, nice job of Omar Evans being there, getting a hand up on that ball. It's nice to see them going to Mr. Reliable. Touchdown, Terry Vaughn. Stretch the defense, put it deep. He just gets his hands right on it, knocks it away. Coverage also provided by Sean Gallant, the safety for the Riders secondary.
Terry Vaughn just the one catch today, and you can see that Jason Moss's numbers are way down. Second down here, and 10 to go. Wide out, and a completion to Ed Hervey. And now the debate is on at where that ball should be marked.
To 81, Ed Hervey.
Hervey making the catch in front of Omar Morgan.
That is a nice job of receiver coming back to the football. Jason Moss is going to put it on a rope right to him, but he's going to take him back, get him to stop his feet, and then come back to the football. Nice job of coming back and nice job of concentrating and catching that football.
Ed Hervey with 3 catches, 65 yards, so he is now 6 yards short of his first 1,000-yard season in the Canadian Football League.
We can push the ball forward for the first down now, right?
So it's 3rd and inches for the Eskimos, and we've seen this afternoon on either side that these gambles are not a sure thing. But Moss does fall forward to move the chains.
As you say, Chris, not a long way to go. But boy, it's a tough way to get there.
First down, Edmonton.
Following Princeton and Baker, Morris, St. Germain, and Beaton.
Just staying low on that one. We watched the previous one. He got up a little high, which allows the defenders to knock you back. He's learning quickly. He gets down underneath the offensive lineman and lets their leg drive take him to the first down.
6:06 left with the wind at the back of Jason Moss here in the third quarter. Mark Nora slamming to the 30.
Goes to
4 yards for
Mark Nora.
the big back out of UBC.
He'll pick up 4 yards on the play.
And you can hear the helmets just smashing against each other all the way up here in the booth. I mean, this is a very, very physical game right now. The offensive line and defensive line going right at it. That play, defensive line winning the battle, coming off the block from the backside. Again, the hustle of the Saskatchewan defensive line making the play.
Another tackle for Nate Davis, who's been a force today. 2nd and 5, Moss. And that pass is caught by Quincy Jackson. In front of Omar Morgan. A little contact there between receiver and defender as the ball arrived.
Well, again, they're bringing a blitz. And I don't understand why you bring a blitz to the outside. You're not going to be in the field of vision of the quarterback. If you're going to blitz the quarterback, bring it inside. This allows not only the middle of the field to be open, but you're giving the quarterback a better opportunity to have a clear throwing lane.
First down at the Edmonton 39-yard line. Moss with plenty of time, flag down. Hervey unable to bring it in, and now another flag is thrown. First, I believe, holding against the Eskimos. Was that a face mask on the Roughriders?
They're going to watch as they try and figure this out.
Holding, Edmonton number 50. Forward pass interference. Saskatchewan 29. First down repeat.
Princeton for Edmonton, and Eddie Davis shakes his head after the call.
Well, you can see the ball going deep. Just going to try and catch it. That's a tight call right there. I mean, the fact that he is not playing the football might be the only reason I can see from that replay, Chris. Did not look like pass interference to me from up here.
Gives Edmonton 1st and 10 all over. And Moss again wide open. There's the 1,000 yards and a lot more for Ed Hervey.
Well, I'm not sure what Omar Morgan was looking at. He stopped running. He let Ed Hervey run right by him. That's his responsibility. He bit on something. He froze his feet. Ed Hervey, number 81, kept running. It was an easy pitch and catch. And another big play for Edmonton on a broken play. You can see number 3, Morgan. He just realizes that Hervey's by him. I don't know how you can let a guy of his speed and ability go free.
47 yards for Hervey, who has a 5-inch reach advantage over Morgan and got in behind the Saskatchewan corner that time. At the 23, back to the ground, and Mark Nora spinning off one tackle inside the 10, down to the 5, loose ball, and it was Valseet Germain getting back on it to preserve the possession for Edmonton.
Well, 3rd fumble recovery by an offensive lineman, and boy, I tell you what, they might just want to stare at their hands after this game. They've never got to touch the football so often, but what a great run. Look at this. Watch the leg drive. Spin, runs into his offensive lineman, keeps going, keeps going. The feet are never stopping, dragging people with them. Very, very fortunate, though, Valseet St. Germain to come up with that fumble. And that's the 2nd one today we saw Nora put on the ground.
17-yard rumble by Nora. This, the 9th play of the drive. Moss rolling, and now he'll take off with it. Down, stretching to the 2.
Little play action bootleg to the outside, freezes the defense. Has an opportunity to do a little dump pass. Saskatchewan covers the dump pass. He gets outside. Now he can throw the ball, but a nice job of Maxey to put his hands up to take away the throwing lane, and that forces Moss to pull the ball down and run with it.
2.5 yards to go for a touchdown. Eskimos trying to add to a 5-point lead. Moss himself trying to power his way in. And it is a touchdown for Jason Moss. Boy, that was nearly a 3-yard quarterback sneak.
Well, I don't think the Saskatchewan defense anticipated a quarterback sneak on this particular play, but Jason Moss just got behind the big left side, beaten St. Germain, Princeton, and just keeps going, and they keep driving. Look at the leg drive even here. Everybody's moving the guy, and they're all scoring with the defensive lineman. They're all pushing the defensive lineman into the end zone. Jason Moss, the recipient of the touchdown as a result.
An 11-point lead. Make it an even dozen.
Sean Fleming adds
as Jason Moss has provided Edmonton with this 18-6 lead here at Taylor Field. Jason Moss capping the scoring drive with a 2-yard run of his own.
Well, you know what, the nicest thing about it, we're just going to get a little slide protection blocking, and he's going to come around and try and run in right here. As we see him going off now, everybody keeps the legs driving. Just going to block down, give him that little seam right there, and as a result, they create the pocket, the avenue for Moss to cross the goal line.
His first CFL touchdown. Brock Preston fields this at his 5. And Preston slides through. Up to the 27-yard line, 2:12 left in this 3rd quarter. 10-play drive by the Eskimos.
Well, the big play, the key play, it's a broken play by Omar Morgan, allowing Ed Hervey to come free, and that leads to the big rumble by Mark Nora, who fumbles the ball. Val St. Germain comes up with the recovery, and then of course it's capped off by the 3-yard quarterback keeper to give Edmonton a commanding 18-6 lead.
95 yards on the drive. that took 5:05 off the clock and puts the Roughriders in a big hole. Keith Smith takes off again, and he has been successful running the football this afternoon.
They have not respected, the Edmonton defensive ends have not respected Keith Smith's ability to get to the outside. He runs the bootleg, they all go inside, they don't anticipate him holding on to it. Look, the play action, he comes to the outside, there's nobody. You're going to give him this much real estate. Your defensive end has got to make him stay in there, make him throw the football.
Gutsy guy, again, a slight concussion last week, but he has taken off with the ball 5 times this afternoon. Sets up 2nd and a yard here. And that will be a first down for the Roughriders. Last week they had a 15-2 lead going into the 4th quarter, but the BC Lions came back with the wind at their back to win here at Taylor Field. This week, Saskatchewan will have the wind at its back in the 4th quarter, and they're going to have to come back from that kind of deficit to win.
Well, they're going to have to tighten up as well, Chris. As you said, the previous drive by the Eskimos, 95 yards. I mean, when you're starting to go the length of the football field and eating up as much clock as you are doing it, that really negates any kind of rhythm you may get from Saskatchewan's point of view for their offense.
We got to address this because we don't win.
Well, despite only 6 points on the board, Keith Smith has shown us some promising signs this afternoon in just his 2nd start.
We're giving him a first down then. We make a measurement.
They're saying this is 3rd down. And another sneak by Keith Smith should do it. And it is a first down for Saskatchewan.
Well, good surge by the offensive line to pick up that much needed yardage for the first down. Just going to get underneath and keep driving. Keith Smith is going to just dive forward, pick up the first down. This is a real important drive for the Roughriders.
He's over here, watch him. He's back here. 22.
Final minute of the 3rd quarter, first down. Play action. And Smith takes off, got a big block. Chris Zarka helps Smith turn the corner.
Well, Chris Zarka just lays the wood, and I mean a hit on Terry Ray. He just comes out across there. Terry Ray is going to check. Now, you know, you're wondering why he's going to the outside. His lineman had him blocked to the outside, but he goes out there, uses athletic ability, and Zarka laying the timber. The wood, the hit on number 28, Terry Ray.
Gave Smith a 5-yard gain, 2nd and 5. Quick delivery by Smith. Bendross tried to reach out for the first down, and Mobley had him in the grasp. And I don't think Bendross got it. Well, we're going to have a measurement here.
And you know, you're talking about the experience factor of the rookie Smith. You know what I like about him, Chris? They bring Jackie Kellogg on a blitz from the outside. And you know what? He picks it up. Bendross picks it up. They execute the play by slanting in the middle. He dumps the ball to him as they measure for, they come up a little short, but a nice job. There comes the blitz from the outside. He comes to the inside, makes the play. That's exactly how you want to run it when you're going to get blitzed.
Pass for close to 6,000 yards, rushed for over 1,000, 41 touchdown passes, scored 15 on the ground in Arizona, Keith Smith. Now 3rd down and less than a yard to go once again. And this time a better surge by that offensive line to move the sticks on the final play of the 3rd quarter. So they'll switch ends. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have the wind at their backs as they try to close the gap here in the 4th quarter at Taylor Field.
Your lattes. A half-century of great moments and memories. The 50th season for the CFL on CBC.
And did Daniel Egali not give us a great memory from last September in Sydney. Fourth quarter, Taylor Field. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have not scored a touchdown since the first quarter of their last game against BC. And Chris, 5 touchdowns in their last 34 quarters.
That's unbelievable. 1 touchdown in almost every 7 quarters of football, or almost every second game.
First down, Smith steps up. It opens up for Keith Smith. Wide open turf. And Smith will step out at the 35.
Number 12, Keith Smith.
25-yard romp for the rookie quarterback.
And if there's nothing there, this is exactly what you got to do. Pull it down and get something positive, and he does just that. Nothing, steps up in the pocket, looks around, tucks the ball away, and takes off on the run. Nice job.
9th carry, 75 yards for Smith.
Nice job by Terry Green pushing him. Terry pushing him all the way to the outside, Romero.
Tell you, for a shortstop, he's got pretty good range. Now dumps it off, incomplete. Trying to hit Darren Davis out of the backfield.
And that might have been a poor pass to first base, as you say in baseball terminology. Just kind of trying to lob it across, giving it to Darren Davis. I like the fact that he's trying to put the ball in number 8's hands, because he can do some things when he catches the football.
Zarka goes to the bench. Danny Barrett with some words for the fullback about what happened on the last play. Jason French is in as the extra receiver. And Smith with a ball that was knocked down. Farthing went up to get it, and it looked like Bendross was the intended receiver, just in behind him.
I'll tell you what, anytime you have 2 receivers in the same vicinity within arm lengths of each other, there's a breakdown. And obviously, when you throw the football, as we see the ball here, just freeze it right there. Look at that right there. 2 guys in the same part of the football field. The object is to spread the defense out, not bring them all together.
That ball was on the money to Bendross, and Farthing made the defensive play. From 43 yards out, McCallum is good, and it cuts the lead to 9. Early in the fourth quarter, there's still plenty of time left here, and McCallum has his 3rd field goal of the afternoon here at Taylor Field.
Well, next weekend, Chris Walby and I will be heading to Montreal for some turkey as our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader is served up. It's Saskatchewan at Montreal in game 1, and then in the second half, it's the Ticats at McMahon and Calgary to meet the Stampeders.
Rematch of that overtime game we had for you last week in the second half of the doubleheader. Mark Nora with the carry. The Edmonton Eskimos next week will play the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Friday. If Edmonton holds on to this lead in the fourth quarter, it will be first in the West against first in the East and in the CFL, the Blue Bombers.
That looks like a heck of a matchup.
2nd and 8.
Tom Higgins knows this isn't done yet. 2nd and 7 for Moss over the middle and out of the reach of Rick Walters. And Edmonton will have to punt it away on 3rd down.
Well, he wants that one back, Jason Moss does, because he gets the right read. They pick up the blitz. Rick Walters reads it, gets behind the linebacker, slants into the middle of the football field, but Jason Moss just leads him a little too much, and Rick Walters is unable to come up with the catch.
It's what's left for Edmonton. Big game against BC on the 12th. One more meeting with Saskatchewan. They wrap up against Montreal. And again, Tom Higgins talked about 4 or 5 wins likely to give them first place. Fleming's kick, a short one. Rock Preston on the run, got on the ball and draws a flag.
Number 14,
looks like Aaron Collins may have been the man within the 5 yards. Just a 28-yard punt by Fleming. And so, with a 9-point deficit, Saskatchewan's going to have pretty good field position to cut into that lead.
No yards.
Absolutely.
Edmonton 93. First down.
And you were right about it being Aaron Collins with the New York's call, but a nice job of Preston attacking the football, not allowing that football to bounce.
Let's join Mark Lee.
Chris on the Saskatchewan bench with a man they'd love to have on the field here today, Curtis Marsh, their outstanding leading receiver. Curtis, what's going through your head watching your team here so frustratingly close to breaking this game open?
It looks like deja vu about 12 times over again. It seems like it's the same thing that's been going on all season long, and it's rather frustrating.
What about your condition? You're nursing a knee injury. Any chance we'll see you in a green and white uniform the rest of this year?
Slight, very slight chance. I'm supposed to have it scoped. They're going to go in and see exactly what's wrong, what exactly can be done. Then we'll go from there.
All right, all the best. Get well soon.
Thank you very much.
Chris?
Well, you know that Curtis Marsh could have a huge impact on this struggling offense. Rocky Henry, a 3-year veteran, comes in today to take his spot, and they really haven't called that number.
They haven't even gone to him but one time in the football game.
There's Bendross with a catch and a face mask. Flags flying, and Bendross shaken up.
Bendross, and there is a flag.
So a big catch by Bendross. They'll tack 15 on. And suddenly the Saskatchewan offense is getting untracked.
Well, nice job of throwing the ball to Bendross.
Foul, face mask. Edmonton 38. First down.
Well, Staten.
And a nice job of the line judge, Art McAvoy, throwing the flag away from it. Got a good view of it. Saw the hand go right into the face mask. Just going to kind of grab it right there. 38 right there, grabbing it, pulling it around. And the flag comes down as a result. Very dangerous, those type of plays.
It moves the ball to the 21-yard line. Bendross with 90 yards in the game. Davis. And Darren Davis, some hard-fought extra yards. And the fans at Taylor Field appreciate the second and third effort.
Well, how can you not appreciate the second and third and fourth effort of this little dynamo, this little fire plug, Darren Davis? He just keeps moving, spinning. I mean, he's not the biggest man. He's only 5'8", 195 pounds. But watch, I mean, he gets stopped. There's a hand on him there. Now, he should be stopped right there. Wrap up. He turns, spins. Should be wrapped up. No, he keeps going. Look at the leg drive. That fires up the rest of your offensive team. Heck, that fires up your whole football team.
Exactly 10 yards on the run. Bendross collecting himself at the Roughrider bench. Just over 3.5 minutes into the fourth quarter. Keith Smith trying to bite into a 9-point Edmonton lead. Back to Davis. And he bounces off again, spins again, and still just a yard or two, but better than it should have been. Dario Romero that time hung on.
Well, if they don't get the pursuit and the help of the rest of the Edmonton teammates, he's going to break it because he's got such good second and third effort, and his spinning and his athletic ability and his center of gravity. Look at him put his hand down on the turf, refusing to be taken down.
200 yards rushing in the last 2 games coming into today, and he has 54 on the afternoon. Second down, 7. Smith, open man, touchdown! Rocky Henry!
Well, Chris, that gives the fans here in Saskatchewan a great reason to celebrate. What a job to get outside, composed. Keith Smith sits back there, good protection, broken coverage. Jermaine Jones, the closest Eskimo to Rocky Henry. Chris, you talked about him earlier. They hadn't really gotten to him. What a good time to go to number 82.
A veteran who worked with Danny Barrett in BC got the call because of Curtis Marsh, and Henry delivers a touchdown catch. 10 points for Saskatchewan in the opening 4 minutes and 46 seconds of the fourth quarter.
Well, it all has to start. Everybody has to be on the same page. It starts with protection. Look at the protection here. That allows Smith to sit back there and find the receiver, Rocky Henry. But watch this move. Looks like he's taking it to the post, brings it back, spins. Absolutely beats Jermaine Jones. Nice job.
And now the ball bobbled in the end zone. October stepped on the back line, and it's a 1-point game. And the wind behind Saskatchewan, and so is the momentum. 11 fourth quarter points.
Just a nice job, and this is one of the things they tell you. They don't want the ball to bounce. Attack the football, because you never know once this football, it's not like a soccer ball, it's not going to bounce right at you. Because of the shape, you don't know where it's going to bounce. In that case, October lost it, ended up stepping on the back line, and Saskatchewan is awarded a point.
Well, Taylor Field is alive now. Mark Nora spins right back to the line of scrimmage. Shante Peoples denies Nora anything more. Well, the scoring march by Saskatchewan helped out by that catch and this penalty.
And you know, Chris, we talk about it, that ends up with a touchdown by Rocky Henry, but I got to tell you, one of the guys that was a big catalyst in that play, Darren Davis, fighting for yards, picking up the spirits of that Saskatchewan team.
2nd and 10. Moss takes a look. That's up for grabs and caught. What a catch by Terry Vaughn. And flags fly on the late hit. Actually, there's a few flags on the field.
Great players make great plays. Sometimes you got to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good, but I tell you, on this play, he's triple covered and ends up coming up with the football and drawing flags as well.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan 38 is after the play, first down.
George White.
I mean, they get great pressure on him. He throws this ball off his back foot. Terry Vaughn's just going to work, trying to do a little bit of a push-up, which he does do. But look at the coverage. The coverage is all there. He still catches the football.
The ball all the way to the Saskatchewan 45. First down, Edmonton. Moss short drop over the middle, and the ball is dropped. Quincy Jackson, one he should have caught.
Absolutely, the ball is thrown perfectly to where Quincy Jackson will be. He catches him on the fly, does not have to break stride. He just can't squeeze it. That is a ball that should be caught. Well thrown by Jason Moss. We see his reaction. Come on, guys, you got to have those.
4 straight one-point games for the Edmonton Eskimos. They're in another one-pointer with under 8:40 to play. 2nd and 10. Moss over the middle, caught by Hervey. He's got great speed and is forced out at the 30-yard line.
Well, that was just a nice one-handed catch. We all know about the athletic ability of Ed Hervey and the speed of Ed Hervey. He's got great hands to go with the package. Look at this one hand, just stabs it, pulls it in, doesn't break stride, and as you say, when he catches a football, boy, I mean, he can make things happen.
6th 100-yard game of the year for Hervey, who had been quiet for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but 127 yards on the day. 5 catches, first down Edmonton. Fakes to Nora, dumps it off. Simon Buffon wrapped up and tossed down at the line of scrimmage. And again, Jackie Mitchell in on the stop. He won the job in the final preseason game with an impressive performance against the team he started.
You have got to like this, because the play action freezes him. He doesn't go anywhere. His responsibility is that back out of the backfield, and he stays with his responsibility and makes the play.
2nd and 10. Moss with time. Throws complete. Jackson stretching for the first down stick.
Now you got to also remember, Chris, we talked about this earlier. This is a normal way of life for Edmonton. They always like to have the pressure. Just as the water's about to drown them, they realize they're in the football game. Almost like it wakes them up. They don't play until they get into the close game right at the end. Now they're starting to move the football. He's throwing the ball effectively. You gotta, if you're Saskatchewan, you gotta calm down, regroup. Don't panic.
The Edmonton Eskimos, 25 points in the last 3 minutes of the last 3 games. Tom Higgins has all kinds of time left, 7:22. Although in this case, they're holding on to a lead and trying to add to it, not coming from behind.
But this is how you want to answer a touchdown drive by the opposition with a touchdown of your own.
3rd and inches. Moss over the top to move the chains.
Quarterback keep number 12, Jason Moss.
That was interesting yesterday, talking to him about running the football, and he said, you know, I'm not going to slide. I'm not that type of guy. Running backs take punishment. Offensive linemen take punishment. Why shouldn't I? I want the hard-fought yards, and we saw it when he scored his touchdown. Jason Moss loves to get his nose dirty. In the second half, he's 7 for 11 for 95 yards. Looks into the end zone. Jackson, touchdown! Quincy Jackson with the catch.
Quincy Jackson making a play very similar to the game-winning play he did in the final drive against the Toronto Argonauts last week. But this time he's in triple coverage. He seems to be the only person out there that knows where the football is. Jason Moss getting good protection, sets back. He's going him all the way. He throws the ball up. Now, when the ball comes, now take a look at all the coverage. There's 3 guys. Nobody's fighting for the football. Quincy Jackson comes up with it. Big touchdown and a big answer by the Edmonton Eskimos.
Jackson's 3rd touchdown of the year, and Fleming to make it an 8-point game. Sean Fleming is good. 6:10 to go in the 4th quarter as the Eskimos rebuild their lead. Quincy Jackson seems to have made a penchant of scoring 4th quarter touchdowns for Edmonton recently.
Big plays at big times as we see the ball delivered by Moss. Now as he comes down here, frees it. Now watch this man right here, number 3, Omar Morgan. He kind of runs by it. Now he should be kind of closing on the football. Don't run behind the receiver. Make a break to the football. I think that's a situation that allowed Quincy Jackson to come up with that touchdown catch.
Rock Preston doing some rumbling. Up to the 48-yard line, a 28-yard return. 8 plays, 75 yards for the Eskimos into the win. Quincy Jackson's 3rd 4th quarter touchdown in recent weeks. That provided the go-ahead points against Calgary, only to have the 2-point convert go the other way. The winning score on a 3rd down play last week in the final minute, and again today, Quincy Jackson on the receiving end, giving Edmonton a 25-17 lead, but not done yet. Nearly 6 minutes to go. Davis wrapped at the 45 and drilled back. He'll lose 3.
And great hustle by the defensive lineman. Yeah, he was brought down by Terry Ray and Mobley, but 2 defensive linemen were over there. Dario Romero and Robert Brown, the 2 defensive ends, chased this all the way down across the football field. And folks, that's just nothing but pure hustle. 72 right there coming in your screen. 92 is right there, Brown. This is what you got to do to win football games.
2nd down, 12 to go. Smith with time, and it's picked off. Jack Kellogg has done it for the Eskimos, and he'll be tossed out of bounds by a frustrated Saskatchewan quarterback. Chris, that is the 9th career interception for Kellogg against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, we saw him earlier in the game almost snare one against Dan Farthing. I mean, you're talking about a wily old veteran back there who reads quarterback's eyes. He's sitting right there. Look at this. This is a poorly thrown football. Nothing more than the rookie, Keith Smith, throwing the ball to the wrong location.
35 on the return, down to the 25. Jack Kellogg's found a home at safety with the Edmonton Eskimos. Moss trying to make him pay with one play, and it falls incomplete. Intended for Darren Hall, and good coverage from Ladafius McCalla.
Absolutely. That's what teams will try and do after a turnover. Go for the big strike. Stick that dagger further in your heart right now. Put the last nail in the coffin. We can go through all these old adages. But boy, they go for it right there. And as you say, McCalla with great coverage on him.
40 left, box 48.
Second and 10. Back to the same play, and that falls incomplete. Actually, this time to Terry Vaughn, the intended receiver in the corner.
Absolutely the same pattern, though. They just switched receivers, as you say. Terry Vaughn is the receiver he's looking for on this particular play. Well covered by 25, Omar Evans on the, just give him a little bump, gets to the outside. Now he's got him by a step right there. Ball kind of hangs up in the air. That allows Evans to be able to recover.
So Sean Fleming comes on. This will be from 32 yards out. Under 4 minutes to play. This to expand the lead to 11. And Sean Fleming is good. And it's now a 28-17 Edmonton lead. Edmonton Eskimos trying to win their second in a row for only the second time this year. And to vault into first in the CFL West, Keith Smith. Darren Davis, look at him spin again. All down at the 37, however.
Number 8, Darren Davis.
Brought down by Terry Ray.
Well, that's the second time that he's made Mobley miss. Mobley's got him right in his sights, figuring this is going to be an easy tackle, but nothing's easy trying to bring down this guy, number 8. Again, we talked about the fact, such a low center of gravity, really hard to bring down. Just look how he lowers his shoulder, and that's exactly what he does on Mobley. Doesn't allow Mobley to get his body underneath Davis.
Second and 7. Here comes the rush. Smith picked again, and it's Jack Kellogg again. Jackie Kellogg, and this time he'll score. Touchdown, Edmonton.
The very same exact play with the same result, except this time Kellogg taking it all the way in for a touchdown.
Wait a minute. There is a flag down at the Edmonton 45, as far away from the play as you can be.
And they're calling it against Edmonton, so it is coming back.
Wow.
That is a big, big break. And if I'm Keith Smith right now, whatever play he's just called the last 2 times that resulted in the Kellogg interception, throw him.
You know, that's the shades of Jason Moss, who in 3 straight games threw 3 interceptions.
Objectionable conduct. Edmonton number 4 on the bench. It was after the play. Touchdown stands. Penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
All right, Darren Hall called, so it stands, and Keith Smith going through something that Jason Moss can relate to.
It is the exact same pattern. He's got the same exact read. But look at, he's right here. He's throwing it right to him. He's trying to go deep. Now you can't throw it. And again, we have 2 receivers in the same place. Armstrong and Bendros are in the same location of the football field.
Fleming to add the extra point. And so what looked like a game slipping away from the Eskimos is just about in the books now. 24 second half points as Danny Barrett's young quarterback gives up back-to-back interceptions. When we talked to Keith Smith yesterday, he says, I know it's not ideal for me to be getting in this quickly in my CFL career, but I'm ready, and I'm ready to take some lumps. Well, the lumps have come here in the fourth quarter.
Well, take a look right here. Look at these two receivers. They're side by side. And look at the ball. Ball's thrown like this. It's got to be thrown like that. You can't throw it on a rope when you got a guy like Jackie Kellogg in between you and the receiver.
Ball returned to the 40-yard line. Kellogg has 3 interceptions as the Eskimos safety in this, his second game in that position. No wonder he's smiling.
Well, I'd be smiling too, sitting back there in the open field, the recipient of what I think are just 2 bad throws, bad decisions, if you would, by Keith Smith on that play. I mean, he's right there. There's the first one. Almost identical to the second one.
Tom Higgins talked about the leadership qualities. Yes, he may have lost a step since the days that he was a Western All-Star in Calgary, but showing a lot of poise. Darren Davis with the catch over the middle, close to midfield.
And by no means do we think that Keith Smith's not an up-and-comer. I think this kid's got, he's handled it with a great deal of composure and leadership, and I think he's going to learn from his mistakes, as all great quarterbacks do. He's not in that class yet, definitely. But you know what? He's going to look at film, he's going to break it down and decide what he did wrong and try and correct it for the next game.
Yeah, this is learning on the fly for him. I've actually been pretty impressed with him today.
Well, you have to be. Remember, most quarterbacks come up, they sit behind a Danny McManus, they sit behind a Damon Allen, much like Kahari Jones in Winnipeg, and learn from the masters, if you would, and then they get their opportunity. This is, as you say, trial by fire, thrown right into the fire.
Here's Davis down to the 40-yard line. Smith with 228 yards passing today, a touchdown pass, but then these 2 late fourth quarter interceptions.
Well, they're game breakers. They really are. You hate to put that label on them, but they are. I mean, the first one allows Sean Fleming to come in for a field goal. The second one, Kellogg takes all the way back. That's 10 unanswered points right there.
Fought back to within a point early in the fourth quarter. Looked like everything was going Saskatchewan's way, but credit Jason Moss, too, engineering a 75-yard drive against the wind. That made it an 8-point game, put more heat on Smith, and then the interceptions. Just over 2 minutes to go. Smith the long out, and he has Rocky Henry inside the 10. Cordell Taylor in coverage.
And you see on plays like this, you see that Keith Smith knows how to put the football in the right place, how he knows to get the proper height, how he knows to get the ball to come down into the receiver rather than through the receiver. This takes away the defender's ability to knock the pass down because it goes over the outstretched hands into the receiver's hands, that time Rocky Henry.
Smith threw 3 interceptions in his first CFL appearance against Calgary. Now looks down to the 5 for Bendros, drilled back to the 10-yard line. Jermaine Jones with the tackle.
Well, obviously with 1:58 left in the game, it's a very quiet group of Roughriders on the sidelines and on the field with hands on hip. I mean, realizing they come so close to ending this drought, and a matter of a few plays, and as you say, the drive engineered by Jason Moss, and we're looking at a 5th straight loss.
2nd and goal from the 8. Here comes Staten on the blitz, and the ball incomplete, intended for Farthing. Roughriders will be 1-6 at home, and they will be 1-6 against the West.
And I think when they go to practice, some of the things they're going to work on are timing patterns between the receiver and the quarterback. I mean, we talked yesterday, Keith Smith very happy to have Dan Farthing back in the lineup, but, they really haven't been able to make that connection all day. They've really been on different pages. That's something they need to work out, because you've got to have a slot back or a guy in the middle that knows how to read your quarterback and get the ball to him.
3rd down and goal from the 8. Well, you go back to the first half, too. The botched field goal, Twice they turn it over deep in Edmonton territory and give it right back. All the signs of a green team. Third down, Smith, end zone, and it's knocked down, incomplete. Intended for Ben Ross, and they turn it over on downs. The third turnover for Saskatchewan in the last 5 minutes. Well, Wednesday night, it's a brand new season, our 50th of Hockey Night in Canada. Fans Manitoba East will see the Ottawa Senators and Toronto Maple Leafs. Rematch from last year's first-round playoff series, while Saskatchewan West, the Battle of Alberta resumes in Calgary. Looking forward to a new year, and a reminder that our next football coverage comes to you doubleheader on Thanksgiving Monday. Minute 35 to run off the clock. Jason Moss to Mark Nora. Up to the 10.
Handoff was to 22, Mark Nora.
Now, you know, things don't get any easier for the Roughriders as they travel to Montreal for the long weekend, the Thanksgiving game. And boy, I tell you, that's going to be a battle there.
Edmonton moves to 13 points. BC with a game in hand has 12. Calgary, a costly loss in Toronto with 11. And with the win by the Argos yesterday, you put them in that Western race again with 8 points. Although they're only 4 back of Hamilton. Hamilton with a game in hand and a game tomorrow against the Montreal Alouettes. Nora stopped up, and it'll be third down Edmonton.
You know, that's an interesting thought you have there, because watching the last 2 games Toronto has played, they've looked very good. They've looked very sharp. They came away on a short end of the stick last week against Edmonton on the last play.
And the Monday prior in Montreal, down to the 10, 3 cracks at it. They came up short. But somehow they've maintained their optimism in Toronto and now trail Calgary by 3 in the West and Hamilton by 4 in the East. And again, the Tiger Cats do have a game in hand, actually 2 games in hand, with the game against Montreal tomorrow and the game later in the year that has been rescheduled in Vancouver. Fleming to punt out of his end zone with 69 seconds remaining. And Fleming will not punt from out of his end zone. He's going to work the clock, fake a pass, and then concede the safety. And it's now a 16-point game.
Fleming will give us a safe touch for 2.
Fleming just running some time off the clock, taking 9 seconds off the clock. Actually, portraying a little bit of a quarterback as we look at the West Division standings. Edmonton with the win, 13 points. BC 12, Calgary 11. Saskatchewan 3-10, remaining at 6. And as you say, with this loss, not only allowing the possibility of a crossover from a team from the East, but every time with only 5 games left, it becomes more and more difficult to visualize and still believe you have a shot at a postseason berth.
Well, these Eskimos wanted to be able to breathe a little easier today after the heart-stopping 4 one-pointers in a row. But here in the fourth quarter, it was a 1-point game until Jason Moss got the offense going and Jack Kellogg took care of the rest.
Yeah, Jason Moss came out on a nice drive, but I tell you, I've been impressed with both defensive lines, Chris. I thought they really came to play today. Saskatchewan's defensive line played outstanding. Edmonton's as well.
Eskimos kicking off after the safety, and Rock Preston picks his way over the 40. Well, they've scored them different ways today. A couple of defensive touchdowns, an offensive touchdown, a special teams touchdown, and that was a backbreaker early, late in the first half when it looked like Saskatchewan would have the halftime lead. Jermaine Jones goes the other way for a score.
That was a backbreaker, as you say. Then we had the nice quarterback, 3-yard quarterback keeper. Jason Moss taking it in. Then we go deep after a turnover, and Quincy Jackson with another one of his classic catches. And we finish it off or round it out with Jackie Kellogg with his second interception of the day, returning it for a touchdown.
Here's Darren Davis out of the backfield, and Davis to the Edmonton 50-yard line.
He's tackled by 17.
18 yards for Davis. He's had 42 yards receiving today and 64 yards on the ground. Smith sets, fires, and a completion. Now they're saying incomplete. The ball in and out of the hands of Dylan Ching. 34 seconds to go.
That's one of those situations, Chris. I mean, he's still trying to make things happen. Keith Smith trying to get some things to end on a positive note. They have, aside from that handful of plays they've been in this football game, unfortunately those handful of plays have been huge plays.
2nd and 10. Again, they dump it off to Davis. And this time, Mobley's got his number.
He definitely does have his number because he's got the number 8 on his jersey. Hanging on for dear life. He says, you know what? Fool me twice, shame on me. He just made sure of that one. Wrapped him up. Waited for some help, take down the ever-dangerous Darren Davis.
Brings up 3rd down, 3rd and 7. Clock running, 20 seconds to go. Davis once again, and he lunges for a 1st down.
Pass is complete, number 8, Darren Davis.
I'll tell you, Darren Davis, I mean, you don't want to talk about the heart of a lion right now or a game ball, especially when you're losing. But I tell you, this guy there's no quit in him. Nice job at Keith Smith to get him the football. But again, he's tackled behind the line. He doesn't get the 1st down unless he gives that second effort again. And he drags the guy up and gets the 1st down.
This should be the final play as Smith steps back, delivers, Armstrong the catch. Nice move. And stopped down at the 12-yard line as the gun sounds to end the game. And Tom Higgins and the Edmonton Eskimos have moved into 1st place in the West, while Saskatchewan falls to 3 and 10. We join Mark Lee.
Well, Chris, we're in the process of tracking down the defensive player of the game. Here's Jack Kellogg. 2 exciting 4th quarter interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. Wondering maybe Calgary may have given up on you a little too soon.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. But, that's what they're doing over there. This has been a blessing coming over here playing with some guys. Recently turned around. There's a big win for us. Get on a roll for the rest of the season.
Huge win. You're in 1st place in the West right now. Tell me about your defensive play. What did you see in this young quarterback, Keith Smith, that was tipping you off to be in the right place at the right time for those interceptions?
I made a couple plays earlier where I thought I could have got a pick, and I knocked it down. And the last couple he threw to me, we were just in a zone, and I think he got panicked with the pressure a little bit and he just threw it up, and I made a good read on it.
Why don't you take us through that exciting return for a touchdown when you made your 2nd interception?
Well, they got on me on the 1st one because I didn't cut it back inside, so I figured I better cut this one back in. Almost ran out of gas, but I squeaked it in there, made a nice move, and got in the end zone.
Is safety a position you think you're well suited for in the late stages of your career?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's been a great blessing. I said coming to play safety. I haven't played it before, so it's been interesting. And I think, with our scheme that we have, I get to go down and cover a lot too, plus play in the middle of the field. So I think it's going to be great.
Now that you're 1st, you look like a team that's to be reckoned with only 5 weeks to go until the playoffs. Congratulations, Jack Kellogg.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this. The Edmonton Eskimos unleashed 24 second-half points to beat the hometown Saskatchewan Roughriders 35-19 this afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, the Blue Jays continue their final road trip of the season in Tampa Bay. Join Brian Williams and John Cerruti for Rogers Blue Jays baseball tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Next Wednesday marks the beginning of Hockey Night in Canada's 50th season on CBC. Viewers Manitoba East will see Ottawa at Toronto, and viewers Saskatchewan West get Edmonton at Calgary at 7 Mountain. Then the CFL on CBC returns Thanksgiving Monday with our traditional doubleheader at Montreal and in Calgary. Tom Higgins and the Eskimos move to 1st in the West.